you're in, you'll never get out.
I hear it. It's awesome. How you doing, man?
I'm good. Hey, Jake, will you say your last name for me?
Naumcheff.
Naumcheff. Okay, so just so it looks, I think there was a incense made by a company called Naumcheff. Is that sound familiar?
No, it doesn't. I mean, I wouldn't doubt it, but it's not. They're not related to me. At least that's
right. I'm trying to think if it was like a cigarette I smoked in college, or it was incense I burned. Naumcheff. Someone will know.
Yeah.
Where's my Indian constituents? Tell me. What is the Naumcheff, the incense? Is that you burn that in the temple next to the elephant? Oh, Caleb, hi. Hey.
Good morning.
Caleb, meet Mr. Naumcheff. Jake.
Not Jake. Naumcheff.
Not Jake Foster.
Not Jake Lockhart.
Not Jake Lockhart.
Oh, I'm fucked.
Oh, man.
I'm just going to call you Mr. Naumcheff.
I don't even smoke weed.
You can call me whatever you want, but it's good to meet you.
Everyone at Mayhem's on Adderall so that they can remember the everyone's name. That's the kind of folks. Are there other Jakes?
I think that those are the only three. Me, Jake Foster, Jake Lockhart. I know as if three's not.
Hey, and there's two dogs that run around there named Jake too, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
There's a lab and an Irish pointer. Mm-hmm. Irish setter, Irish pointer. Hey, Jake, do you do any conspiracy theories or anything? Like,
not
do you do like the moon landing or 9/11 or any of that?
No, I just I don't have time between two kids and a couple of jobs. I don't have time for conspiracy theories like I'd like to. I'm sure it'd be a fun rabbit hole to go down.
Like my mom and I don't see eye to eye on a lot of stuff. No, we see eye to eye on a lot of stuff, but we just, she votes Kamala, I vote Trump. And so the other day she's at the house. I'm like, hey, Mom, let's watch something together that's just like out there for both of us. And then let's see what happens. So I just typed in Building 7 because I had seen some stuff on Instagram. Building 7 was one of the buildings in the 9/11 attacks that just fell. It was like far away and it just fell down. And we watched it. And we both, after we watched it, we're like, what the? And then last night, I don't know how, were you alive during 9/11? I don't know.
Yeah, I was in third grade during 9/11. Like I remember like the day that it happened. I remember walking to the classroom and, buddy telling me, being like, hey, this just happened, and just not having no idea what that meant. And then like I got checked out of school that day, right, by my parents, and went home and watched it all on the news. So yeah, like
you did watch it? Your parents let you watch that in the third grade?
Yeah. So I mean, we were trying to figure out what was going on, right? And like I mean, she probably checked me out around like 10 a.m. that morning. I think there had been like at that point, one or two planes, and my dad was actually flying that day. And I think he was flying to DC, and he did not travel much. So like, I remember my mom being just really freaked out that day. Yeah.
Anyway, last night, one of my buddies calls me, who's not a conspiracy guy at all. He's like, dude, I'm like, what's up? How you doing? He's like, do you know about Building 7? I'm like, yeah. Everyone knows about Building 7. He's like, Caleb, I'm so curious what you think about this. He goes, the whole thing was fake. And I go, why do you say that? He goes, because that plane that crashed in the field in Pennsylvania, that's the one that was supposed to hit Building 7. And when the people on board, so basically one of the planes crashed in a field, right?
Yeah.
So then my buddy's telling me, hey, that's the building that was supposed to hit Building 7. And then when it didn't hit Building 7, they just detonated the building anyway. Because it is really weird. If you get a chance, just look up the footage. It's this building that's off to the side and it just falls.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I feel like whenever I watch documentaries like that on conspiracy theories or anything, I always leave those documentaries being like, this was 100% true. Like this happened. And it doesn't even matter what it is. Those documentaries.
Yeah, I know. I'm the same. I watched this 3-hour one where we didn't go to the moon. And for 2 weeks, we didn't go to the moon. But then it goes away. It's like the carnivore diet. It goes away. 2 weeks later, I'm like, oh, shut up. We went to the moon. It's like I do carnivore for 2 weeks. I'm like, what's a piece of cake gonna hurt?
Yeah. It's like a temporary brainwashing. You're just like, they got me.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Yeah, I'm friends with the Liver King, and I'm eating everything raw. And a week later, I'm like, fuck that. Overcook everything.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker like that. I even bought wrist wraps when I saw Miko Salo wear them.
Yeah. That was a long time ago.
You wear wrist. Oh, yeah. Look at Building 7. Hi, Building 7. Oh, nope. Bye, Building 7. What the fuck is that?
I don't know, man.
Oh my God.
You see like the HVAC unit like collapse on top and then the rest of it just kind of goes.
It's so weird.
That happened the day of the 9/11. Like that was just, so the building was like, how far away was it from the Twin Towers?
10 blocks or something, 5 blocks.
That's like, wow. That's crazy.
It's weird.
Yep.
Hey, and just for the record, those buildings were, I don't know if Building 7 was real, but the Trade Center was real. Like as a kid, I went there and I went up to the top.
Oh, yeah.
If anyone needs it verified. I mean, dude, people will say anything now. Those buildings were never there.
Yeah, no, they were there.
Those buildings were never there. Okay. All right. Damn, I thought I could burn up half the show us talking about.
I was about to say, that's a great icebreaker. That was the last thing I was expecting for us to start the show. So that's good.
What do you think about aliens, Jake?
So you serve Yeshua and Austin Hatfield. Two of my favorite people in that order.
In very different ways, but yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. But connected.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
And so tell me what you do at you live in Cookeville and you work.
I live in Birmingham, Alabama.
I've really done my research. Well,
no, it's good. I own an affiliate in Birmingham, so that's why we have to stay here. And which, I mean, we have parents here and family here and all that kind of stuff. So I'm out of Birmingham. And then I travel and probably go up to Cookeville, maybe like once maybe once a month, something like that. And then just work remotely for Mayhem Performance Coaching.
I had convinced myself that you had sold this affiliate.
No. Mm-mm.
Oh, God, not even close. I mean, I just made that story up in my head because I heard you mention it, and then in another podcast you did or another interview you did. And how do you say this?
CrossFit Laminin.
Laminin, like laminin?
Laminin. Yeah, like laminate, but laminin.
Is that a biblical term?
It is. And full disclosure, like the gym was owned by other people who came up with that name before I had anything to do with it. Like, if I'm being honest, I don't really care for the name, but they had it there. Like they got it from a Louis Giglio sermon, and it just is what it was. And, it was unique, and people had already known the name in the area. So I decided to keep it, but I didn't come up with that name.
And what is fibrous protein? Yeah.
And like the sermon illustration that was used was talking about the fibrous protein that really kind of like binds things together, but it's in the shape of a cross. I thought it was a terrible analogy and kind of cheesy. So like, that's why I didn't care for it. But that's where they're getting the name from and using it. Yeah. So like that, and that kind of stuff doesn't do much for me there. But yeah.
There was my least favorite. I have a least favorite. I probably shouldn't have a least favorite. Salt. My least favorite analogy in the Bible is this: you are the salt of the earth, but if the salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? It's no longer good for anything. You know what I mean? And I bet you that was so powerful when he said that, because probably salt was so important back then.
Yeah, and like he's using salt there as a preservative. Like that's what it would have done, right, for food in those days, would have preserved things. And so like he's telling his followers, right, like, hey, you're supposed to be the preservative that's going to basically hold back evil in the world, right? Through grace. Yeah. So
I hope when he comes back he updates that one. Like like he throws in ascorbic acid. You are the ascorbic acid of the earth.
I don't know.
You're the formaldehyde of the earth.
Yeah, he'll be doing some other things when he comes back next time. Not updating anything, but yeah.
Not rewriting the
like he's not rewriting anything. Yeah.
Rewrite your Bibles, everybody. I'll be back in another few centuries.
Yeah.
Hey, does it say in the Bible when he's coming back?
No.
Not
even the Father nor the Son know the hour, nor the angels in heaven. So nope. Don't know.
It says that in there?
It does. I believe in the Gospel of Matthew. I'm not exactly sure where. But Yeah, no one knows the day nor the hour. There are a bunch of parables that Jesus brings up to talk about that, talking about like, if the servant had known when the master of the house was going to come back, he would have had the house in order, right? So like he used the parable basically being like, hey, I'm leasing this out to you, right?
That's a great one. That's a great one.
Right. So
when you have great ones like that, what's the salt? What's one bad salt one?
Right. Yeah. There you go. Okay.
Sorry, but go on about that. About the master, have the house prepared.
Basically, just being like, hey, I'm entrusting you, right, with these stewards and these talents and these gifts and all of these things that I've given to you, right? And I'm going to leave and go away. But when I come back, right, I'm expected to find my house in order. And if I don't, right, then there's going to be judgment. And if the master knew the hour, right, he would have it prepared. But he's saying, hey, you don't know the hour, so stay prepared at all times, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always keep the toilet clean.
There you go. That's it. That's what he should have said, right? That would
always lift the back side of the lid, because there's always that mystery poop that somehow fires up the back, and you're like, how?
Yep.
How? The physics don't make sense. Tell me about Birmingham. How did you end up owning a CrossFit affiliate?
I mean, that would have been. I've owned it for 7 years now. I think a little bit more than that, since 2018, I believe. And so I was not really in between jobs. I had just started my own coaching company where I was doing remote coaching with people. And so at the time I was trying to grow that, and I started working out at Laminin because I was actually doing a trade out for a membership there. I was coaching one of the owners. I was programming for them, coaching them. They were a competitive athlete in the space for a gym membership. And then it kind of got to the point to where I could tell there were 3 people who owned it. And I could tell just that things weren't, I just looked around. I saw a lot of things that could be done better, that could be done just, in a different way. And so I approached a couple of the owners about it and was just like, hey, like, I'm willing to like buy someone out, right? My only stipulation is if I buy into this, you leave me alone and you let me run it the way I want to run it. Like, we'll own it together, but you give me full reign. And if you give me full reign of it, I'll do it. Right. And they were at the point where they were not going to sign their lease. Like, they were not going to renew their lease on the location that was up in like 8 months or so. And so for them, it was like, yeah, like, why not? We'll give you a shot. Like, here, take it, So I bought one of the owners out. And then, yeah, just from there ever since.
Jake, meaning if someone's not re-upping their lease, that means they're closing. That doesn't. Yeah. That's the assumption, not that they're moving.
Yeah. Not that they're moving. No, they were going to close. Yeah.
Okay. So basically at that point, they all 3 came together and said, hey, we'll sell you the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, 2 of them wanted to stay on with me. And to be frank, I did not have enough money at the time to be able to buy out all 3 of them for what it was going to cost. And I way overpaid looking back now for the part that I did buy the first time. But so that I bought one of them out. I own 33% of it. And then about 4 years later, I bought the other 2 out. And so now I've owned it for, I think, the past 2-3 years on my own.
And so in hindsight, would you have just opened your own gym?
That's a good question. And I've actually never thought, I don't think I would, only because now there are unique challenges when you buy and you take over an affiliate, right? Because you're coming in and you're having to change culture. You've already got people who are expected for something to be done a certain way, and you maybe want to change that, and you're going to get pushback from it. Like, there are a lot of unique challenges that come with that. But at the same time, you're already starting with, I didn't have to go out and get 100 members, right? Like, we had 100 members already in, and it was like, hey, if I can prove to these people, right, to trust me and that I'm going to take care of them and I'm going to do things the right way and make this product better, that's a whole lot easier than me starting from scratch and having to take a huge risk on a lease, on a gym, all of that stuff, get new equipment, like all of that. So I don't know if I would. I don't think I would have. Yeah.
And how long had you been doing CrossFit before you purchased the gym?
I have been doing CrossFit since 2009. So,
holy cow.
Yeah. So we have a mutual friend, Savon. Do you know who I worked for at my very first CrossFit affiliate?
What state?
Alabama.
Oh.
Is he a doctor?
No. I think he's still doing some stuff for Greg, and he got fired from CrossFit by Greg.
I think I know who it is.
Russell Berger.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it's for sure someone who's not my friend, but Russell is my friend. I would do anything for Russell. Wow, Russell's a great human. I love Russell Berger.
Yeah.
Oh
and
my God.
I knew him back when, like, you know, it was, I mean, I think I joined CrossFit Huntsville after watching, I had to follow it on Twitter at the time. Do you remember this? Like when they had the games out at the ranch in Aromas, and it was the year that Jason Kalipa had that heat stroke, right? Like running, they did the trail run and all that. I remember having to follow that on Twitter. Like I had just found CrossFit and was doing it for 3 months or whatever at that point. And I noticed that I had looked into CrossFit Huntsville and who was the owner at the time. And I saw Russell's name. And I think I saw him pop up on like an update of him like being in second or third on that trail run. I was like, oh, this guy's legit, you know? And so then after that, I think that's when I went and joined.
I'll tell you a story. So I had been working for CrossFit. I think I had worked for a year for free. And then I did a year, I think at the time of the 2009, prior to the 2009 games, I traveled around the country in my own motorhome for, 3 months, just sending videos to .com every single day. Right. And they were posting them every single day. And while we were in a storm in Ohio somewhere, and the guy I was with, Kerry Peterson, and I was like, hey, I was just at a film festival called South by Southwest. I think it was South by Southwest. And there was this party there for this app called Twitter. I go, let's download the app and or I don't even think they had apps then. I think maybe it was through the website. I can't remember, but basically
I remember it was like, yeah, you had to look it up as a browser. Yeah. On a computer.
So we went to Twitter and we got an account, and we got CrossFit account, and we're like, hey, let's just Twitter. And we did it out of benevolence, like, hey, let's spread the CrossFit word. By the time the trip was over, this conspiracy had started with like the 10 employees at CrossFit, that Carrie and I started this CrossFit account to take over CrossFit. And it was fucking nuts. And then, so we're like, no, take the fucking account. We're all we're doing is like, we're at this affiliate, we're promoting this athlete. Like, we're just like we did it. And they told us that Twitter was completely fucking stupid. I think Greg and Lauren told us that basically we got chewed out for it. Right. Then 2 weeks later, I think it was Russ Green and Russell Berger at the time, or there were two people there, and they opened up a second Twitter account. And I don't know if you remember, there were two Twitter accounts tweeting the games. And that's how that 2009 games was reported to the world. I've never met anyone I didn't know anyone. I mean, I didn't get Twitter until 6 months ago or a year ago or whatever. Like, I didn't look at Twitter until a year ago, but yeah, that's crazy. You actually use that to follow the games.
Yeah. I mean, I just remember it was the only way. And I don't even know if I was on Twitter at the time. I think I was Googling, trying to find anything I could about updates on the games at the time.
Yeah.
And what was going on, because it had started. And I think it took me to Twitter and showed me, a tweet about some updates. And then I started following it from there.
Yeah. I remember they had two accounts and they were just tweeting nonstop. Like, that's how how that games was broadcast. Yeah. That's wild. And I almost lost my job for like being accused of doing a coup on the company. Fucking ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And how did you first hear of CrossFit? Do you remember where you were and some people were doing some shit and you were like, oh?
Yeah, I think I was working as a physical therapy tech. I had thought might want to go into PT school. So I was like, let me kind of get some exposure here and, feel this out. I ended up hating that job and everything about it. But one of the guys, physical therapist at the time, they were like basically just going out to a park and just like doing CrossFit. And he told me about it. He was like, hey, think you'd like this. You need to check it out. And so, and I wasn't doing CrossFit by any means, but I was already doing like some out of the, I guess, norm training for that time at 2009, like
circuit training. Were you doing circuit training?
Yeah, okay. Pretty much. Right. Like I was just putting all that stuff together on my own. I wasn't doing it for time. I wasn't doing all the movements by any means, but I enjoyed just high intensity work. And so he turned me onto it, and I started looking up. I really just started following .com. Like I just looked at it, I really liked it, and I was like, I'm just going to follow .com the best that I can, doing it at a YMCA, and then having some dumbbells that I could take down to the track and do, and all that kind of stuff. And I did that for probably like 3 months, and then I saw an L1 was coming up at CrossFit Atlanta, which is only 2 hours away from me. And I talked to the PT that I worked with at the time. He was like, yeah, let's go get our L1. And so we went and got our L1.
What year was that?
That was 2009. I'm almost
wow.
like November of 2009. It was still back in the time where the L1 now it's polished, right? Like it's so streamlined. This was still kind of the wild, wild west a little bit, where like they'd run you through, 6 or 7 workouts over the course of 2 days.
Yeah.
So like, I remember us doing Tabata air squats, like with intensity, and people yelling at us and like not being able to walk after, and then doing afternoon.
Yeah.
Like it was, I mean, it was a little bit of trial by fire, and I loved it. Absolutely.
I loved it too.
Yeah, it was great. And then, and so I got my L1, and at that time, I think I had been at CrossFit Huntsville for a few months at the time, which Russell owned. And I was also working as an assistant strength conditioning coach at a local high school, like a private high school at the time. And so I reached out to Russell, and I just sent him an email. I was like, hey man, if you're ever out of town and you just need someone to cover classes, right? Like, let me know. I'd love to help. And he sent me an email back. Like, I think that day he must've been really hurting for some help. And he was like, do you want a job starting tomorrow? And I was like, are you serious? And he was like, yeah, let's have you run some classes. Like, let me give you some feedback.
He never met you? He had never met you.
Oh no, he had met me because I'd been working out as an affiliate at the time.
Okay.
Yeah. And then he was like, yeah, we'll pay you $20 a class. And at 20 years old, I was like, you're going to pay me $20 a class to coach CrossFit? I was like, yeah, absolutely. Like, let me know where to sign up. And so then from there, I worked until he decided to leave the affiliate and go work for HQ full time. I worked under him that entire time.
When you say you didn't like PT, what didn't you like about it?
I hated the it was so monotonous, and I think part of it was the type of clinic that I was working at, in the sense that it was not at that time. You can go to PT clinics now, and it's extremely functional, and it's extremely, like, you can really tell they're using strength conditioning principles to really help people get better, right? As opposed to just sitting there doing manual therapy on them, giving them some stim and some ultrasound or whatever it may be, that's not really fixing the problem, and just trying to get them back to where they can just live their life, maybe pain-free, right? But they're not really trying to restore full function or even get it better than it was before. And I don't know what it was about it. I just did not care for it at all. I'm not a corporate kind of person. My personality doesn't fit that at all. So when you put me in a corporate environment, there tends to be quite a bit of, just a rebellious nature there. So
you weren't fulfilled by it. Sounds like.
No, not at all.
You weren't getting the what's that called when you do something and you get you weren't getting the outcomes you wanted.
Yeah,
you see better outcomes.
Yeah, I just didn't get any satisfaction out of the work.
Yeah, you wanted to do more. And I want to go back to what you said about the gym. When you said that there's stuff about the gym that you wanted to that you noticed, that like you walk into a casino, like it's not a bad casino, but it's like a casino in a small part of town, like in Tahoe on the North Shore. You're like, ooh, these carpets look like they're from the 70s, and you know what I mean. Machines have wear on the handles, and like. Was it like that? Was it that it was tired, or was it that, like, what did you notice about this affiliate that made you think, okay, these people started to check out a little bit?
Yeah, I just, you pick up on body language maybe by coaches and stuff like that. But then in addition to it, like, there were just super little things, right? They're like, you could mark the 400-meter run course, like that could actually be marked with like some spray paint on the ground. That's not very hard to do,
Right.
So like just those kind of things where it's like, man, we can take care of these people and we can do a better job. And I also at the time I liked the idea of having a brick and mortar facility where if I were going to coach higher competitive athletes, that I could have them come to and I could see them train in person. That was my own, right?
Oh, okay.
Kind of like a hub for both. So that was my initial thought when I bought it.
So you had a vision for people who would be there for some more serious goal-oriented training, and then also thoughtfulness. It's like the difference when you own a house and you walk up, you see the trash and you pick it up. When it's a rental, you just walk by it.
Yeah, right.
If you share a parking lot with 50 people, you don't pick up the McDonald's bag.
Yeah, exactly. And so, and at the time, the gym was also known for being the competitive gym in town. And unfortunately, to some degree, it still is. And I don't really.
But don't you like that? Did you like that?
I didn't. I mean, I did when I bought it. I did. Now that we've moved, I don't, to be fair, I don't care what anyone thinks about my gym in town anymore. Like I used to, and I do not care. People think that we're the competitive place in town because our workouts are hard and because, you know, you come in and my programming for my gym is pretty difficult. Like there are days where no one does our workouts RX and I want it that way. Right.
Right.
And so anyways, but I also love the fact that we have that reputation around town for being a competitive gym. But if you walk into our classes, that's the farthest thing from what we are, right? Like the majority of my members are 40 years old, right? They've got multiple kids. They are just trying to stay healthy. They're trying to stay off medication, all of those kind of things. And they're just coming in and just looking to get a really good workout in and get fit. And they could care, like, trust me, my gym's not growing because I'm coaching Austin Hatfield. And 90% of my members at my affiliate do not know who Austin is. And I love that. Like, I absolutely love it. So, yeah.
Hey, so let me take your gym as the micro and then go big. Let me take your gym is micro, macro, and then let me go big picture on it. You're saying you like the reputation your gym has that's hard, but a 75-year-old lady who's never moved can still come in there.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
I will die on this hill. I think that's the brand value of CrossFit. Mm-hmm. When my mom would wear her CrossFit shirt to her little old ladies book club, they would fucking be aghast.
Yep.
Right. And my feeling is the barrier for entry is so low. All you have to do is walk in and see it's not like that. It is badass. You are badass. You are a black belt of fitness from, day one because you have the mental balls to go in there. But there's some people who want to break that down. And I think that's a huge mistake because it's not true and it's our brand value. But the pushback from affiliates that I've talked to is like, well, dude, if we have that reputation, we're not going to get members. And I'm like, I want to be like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Right. Like I don't want to, and it's easy for me to say, I don't own an affiliate. I'm not trying to put bread on my table, but I love that brand value. I love our warm up is your workout.
Right. Yeah.
And I just love that. And it's true.
It is. And you're right though, that it's much easier to say that when you're not having to worry about keeping your doors open and needing members. Because 100%, and I tell my coaches this all the time, like, hey y'all, if we want to have more members, here's what we do. Let's take out all of our Olympic lifts. Let's take out any lifting heavy, and let's just do 45 minutes of cyclical aerobic work with burpees and sit-ups, and we'll have this place packed out.
Like, call yourself Orange Theory.
Exactly. That's
some
all
planks. Throw in some planks.
Yeah, right.
Ab work.
That's it. And it's like, if that's all we want, then that's what we need to do. Right. But that's not what I want to be. That one, I don't think that's what helps people. Right. And it is hard. It is meant to be hard. CrossFit is not for everyone. And like, I am probably the worst salesperson in the world. When I used to do sales for my gym, I turned more people away than I had come into my affiliate. Like, I just straight up told them, hey, what you're looking for is not what we offer. Here is a gym down the road that is going to provide what you're looking for, but it's not here. So,
the other day I was at my kid's jiu-jitsu class and a lady came by with a kid and she's having and I'm listening. She has a 5-year-old with her, and I can tell he's a little out of control, and she's talking to him, and I can hear the mom being like, well, can you do this for him? Can you do this for him? Can you do this for him? And finally the coach is like, hey, this place isn't for you and your kid. I was like, damn. Like, hey, dude, you asked too many. You like it would be like if someone came to you and said, hey, I don't want to get my heartbeat over 100.
Right.
Oh, I don't want to sweat. I'm really grossed out by sweating. And you'd be like, I don't think.
Why'd you walk in here then?
Yeah, I don't think this place is for you.
Yeah. But that jujitsu teacher, right? Like he understands that allowing that kid to stay in there is going to hurt his product and hurt how much he can help the other people that are there that want
that second one for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
it
is. And so,
yeah, it's gonna. And there are bad kids in there, but they just get disciplined constantly. And I've seen them like mold those kids.
Yeah.
So the kids that come in bad, like they spend half the class doing burpees or some sort of squatting, and 6 months later they're not doing that shit.
Right. Yeah.
And it's hard for some parents to watch, but it's like, hey, your kids probably has a better your kid has a better quality of life now, and people like them more.
100%. Yeah. You've taught them how to behave in public through jiu-jitsu. Yeah.
Did you meet your wife at the gym?
I worked at a gym down in Dothan, Alabama called CrossFit Embrace for a year. So I was at CrossFit Huntsville for 5-6 years. Russell left, new ownership kind of came in and took over CrossFit Huntsville. I needed and wanted a change of scenery from that, right? And so I moved down to Dothan, worked at CrossFit Embrace with Landon and Keisha Brazel. They're like a 12-year, I don't know. The affiliate might be 15 years. I don't know. It's massive. But anyways, I moved down there really because I was competing at the time, and me and Landon had competed against each other, and moved down there to train and took a job. And when I was down there over Christmas break, my wife, she was going to school at Sanford, which is in Birmingham. They had something called a Jan term, which is basically like if you don't take a class in the month of January, you have January off. Right. So she was in town and she was doing CrossFit, and she started working out at the affiliate at the time. And yeah, I saw her across the room one day, and she was so beautiful that I was like, I'm kind of afraid to look again, and then decided to slide in her DMs, asked her where she went to church in town, which is kind of I don't know if I'd do that again.
Nice. Nice.
Is that a presupposition?
Yeah.
Is that killing two birds with one stone? Where do you go to church? And
100%.
do you go to church?
Yeah, 100%. It's
Okay.
like, let's kind of get a feel for the landscape here. And then she told me
she didn't text you back, "Hail Satan."
No.
Okay.
That would have been a conversation, probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
The hell is even that?
Yeah. But then we went and got coffee, and I remember actually I came back to the affiliate the next morning because the owners, Landon and Keisha, they knew that I had gone on a date with her, and they were excited for me. And I came in and they were like, "How'd it go?" And I was like, "If I ever get the opportunity, I'll marry her." And yeah, we got married a couple years later.
If I were to say that to a girl, what church do you go to? That's really, like there's all these rules like you're not supposed to do on the first date, but that's like basically you're saying, I want to marry you. Even like you're at bare minimum, you're saying, hey, this is my interpretation. I'm only going to go out with you if it's a possibility that we get married.
Yes. There's a lot of like, I don't know if foreshadowing is the word there, but you're implying a lot when you ask that question, right?
Yeah.
Like you're implying like, hey, I'm not just looking just to date you and us to hook up and then just kind of call it there, or just figure out what we're going to do a couple years from now. Like this is something that I feel intentional about, and I want to pursue you the way that I think you need to be pursued. And I want us to be on the same page about a lot of important stuff. And like, we obviously talked about.
Yeah. It's like a prerequisite. You're alive and you have a vagina, and do you go to church? You know what I mean? It's like,
right.
Yeah, it's like up there. Wow. And that didn't scare her off.
No. And I kind of worded it as like, hey, I've been looking around at churches to go to in the area, and I haven't found one really that I've, liked or enjoyed. I was wondering if you, know of anywhere. And
nice.
Yeah. And so like that didn't scare her off because, her parents love the Lord. She grew up in a Christian home and like so, for her, she was looking for the same thing. So it worked out.
Yeah. Congratulations. That's awesome. And how long have you been married?
I think this will be 10 years in August. August will be 10 years. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thanks, man.
And you have a child.
We have 2 kids, and then we actually have a third on the way. So I have 2 girls, Yeah. And then I think we find out in like a week what our third one will be.
Oh, congratulations. That's awesome. 3 is awesome. How old are the girls?
They are 3 and 1. Yeah. That's them.
Oh, so you're having them all close. Oh, you're stoked, dude. Wow.
Yeah.
What a cool life you're living.
I am so blessed, man. Like, I mean, it's unreal.
So you meet her, you go on this date, and then it just quickly escalates. Who's that girl? Who's that girl in the middle? She looks really familiar. Was she a games athlete? Who's that girl in the middle?
Caroline Lee is the girl in the middle. She's
I don't know her.
Of my affiliate. Sydney on the right is an athlete that I coach. She was on a team at the games last year, and they actually have team semis again to try to go to the games today and tomorrow and over the weekend.
Yeah. Sorry, detour from your life for a second. Do you have a problem with the run in the semifinals?
You know, someone else asked me about this, and maybe it's just that I'm ignorant. And, you know, I've heard you talk about like PED use in CrossFit and how you're just kind of like, I don't think anyone's doing it, right? Like that's just, I just want to be naive and just kind of be like, no one's cheating, right? And no one's going to cheat this run. Okay.
Yeah.
And I really want to believe that, and that's my take on it. And I'm probably wrong. So
that's my take. My take on it too is trust people and they will be trustworthy.
Right. And I think that what helps or what should help be a deterrent is the fact that you have to do this at an affiliate. And so if you have an affiliate owner that is signing off on you cheating and being okay with that, there needs to be some repercussions for that. Like that should not be okay. And that should at least have some type of a standard that is holding people to at least be honest in that regard. That's my opinion.
Hey, if they do that, if someone gets caught cheating, we should have like a repentance workout. Is that the word? Am I using it right?
That would be penance. Yeah.
Oh, penance. Big Caleb. Jesus. I mean, Jesus Christos. Caleb, will you look up penance? What if as a forgiving, loving community that came together, I almost had a Southern accent there for a second, came together and we told Kale, hey, Kale, penance, voluntary self-punishment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. Kale, you have misstepped. Many of us have misstepped, Mr. Kale Lehman. Many of us I've cheated on more tests than I can tell you from the 3rd grade on through high school. And I stole one kid's homework one time after he turned it in, erased his name and put my name on it. Forgive me, Father.
Loser.
Asian kid, didn't matter. Listen, because he's already going to get an A. I see the justification. What if we get together and we're like, Kale, you do 500 burpees live. We'll all go on the live stream. All you'll get is we love you, we love you, we love you. Mm-hmm. You're forgiven for your sins, but you had to pay the price, 500 burpees for time.
Yeah.
And it'll be healing for us and for Kale.
No.
He's 23, dude. He's 20 fucking 3. Leave him alone. Like my friend used to go in the store and steal DVDs and then come out and I would go in and return them at Target and then we would buy candy with it. Like I have sinned.
Yeah. But in my opinion, he doesn't need to do the burpee. And like, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know anything about this situation. Like
he doesn't need to, but as a symbol. Right.
But that symbol also could just be him coming out and being like, hey, like I own it. Like that's symbol enough.
Yeah,
right?
You're right.
If you really did it, it is. It's like, hey, because that's all that people want, right? Like if you get caught with your hand in the cookie jar, don't turn around and blame someone else. Just accept the fact that like, hey, yeah, I screwed up. And we've all screwed up. No one is gonna, like, you're right. He's 23. In 4 years from now, no one's gonna remember this if you will come out. But if you just are silent about it for the next 4 years, it will follow you around forever. So that's my opinion on
it. And we've all done that. There's a car going by and you're with your buddies and you throw a rock at it and the cops come and they're like, "Why'd you do it?" And you're like, "Shit, I don't even know."
Yeah, exactly.
I don't even know because there's a rock because the car went by. But why? Are you an asshole?
I had a rock and it was
because I'm 12. I remember that when your parents would yell at you. They're like, "Why'd you do that?" You're like, brain, don't let me down.
And you
Oh shit, I got nothing. I mean, at least by the time you're older, you're like, why'd you key his car? It's like, because he fucked my girlfriend. When you're 12, you're like,
I just did it 'cause I wanted to do
you're
it.
like,
Yeah.
you got nothing.
Yeah.
And I think Kale's like that.
Mhm.
Why'd you do it? Because I'm 5 feet tall and I'm fucking feeling insecure about my fitness, and I just wanted to. Because I'm just feeling insecure.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna make
But the
myself
thing is
cry.
also
Because I went to
like-
West Point. You just cheat all the time anyway.
Oh, Caleb. Oh, you military mother.
But the point is also like, I don't need a reason for why he did it if he did it. And I still don't know. I'm not saying that he did or he didn't, right? Like, I honestly couldn't care less. But just saying that you did, right, would go a long way. So
I just want everyone to know that I will start a show called The Penance Show. And if like you did something bad, like slapped your kid or imagined banging your neighbor, and you want to come on here and do burpees, I will gather the flock and we will love on you while you do 100 burpees as just a symbol, as a agape. What did I use that word right?
It'll be like Gil Taylor, except you don't get paid.
Yeah.
You just get the embarrassment part out of it.
Oh no, agape is wide open. Especially, I thought agape was like a party, like a God party.
It's a Greek word for love in the New Testament. No,
it's not a party. It's not a love party.
AGAPE, agape.
It's not a love party. Selfish, unconditional, sacrificial form of love. Yeah, ours will be a little different. We have one sacrifice. You have to do 100 burpees. Got a penance show. That's a great.
Smart.
Yeah, I'm onto something.
Standy knows.
Every man
I've ever met went to West Point is a giant pussy. Simple as that.
That is. I apologize to all my West Point. Thank you for your service. Jeez Louise. I'm in Army Aviation. We dog West Point officers because they tend to be bad pilots. Oh my goodness, you guys.
See? It's okay because I can say that because I'm in the military.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah, all right.
He's being a shitbag. Just admit it. Do not lie, steal, or cheat, or tolerate anybody who does.
Wow. Oh, right. How do I get rid of that? Oh, here we go.
There you
go. Okay. Did your wife work at the gym?
No. She has her own career that she's very, very good at. She's a healthcare consultant for hospital companies. So she works remotely from home. And so, yeah, she works out at the gym, obviously. But
and then how long have you been at Mayhem Performance?
Yeah, since it would have been it's about a year and a half now. So not this past December, but the December before was when I came on.
And the way the story went with your colleague Dom was, I think he was just at the games and Lockhart walked by and just sprayed him with holy water.
Yeah, Foster walked by.
Oh, Foster. Okay, yeah.
Foster walked by and snagged him up.
Oh, does Foster? I thought it was Lockhart. I didn't know Foster was ordained to do that. Foster can do that too? Wow.
Yeah, technically, I mean, Lockhart has to sign off on all of the hires.
He has to give you the holy water before you go over and spray. Right. Okay.
Yeah. But Foster is the one who brings him the anointed ones, right? And is like, hey, this is the person we're bringing into the fold, if it's okay with you. And then Lockhart.
I sprayed him and he didn't scream.
Yeah.
How did you how did you finally get that gig? What was your interactions with Mayhem?
Yeah, so it was the last year that the games was in Wisconsin, so I think that would have been 23. Is that or 22? Is that correct?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember either. But
I think 23 because 24 was the first year at.
Right.
Okay. So it's 23.
Yeah. So, anyways, at that time, I think that Don Fall had just started as CEO, or he had been CEO maybe for 3 to 6 months before that. And I was still just trying to get a handle on what direction is this company going, right? Loyalty for me is massive. It's a massive quality of mine. It's why I'm still affiliated with CrossFit. And I had a job for a while there working for a gym that was not affiliated. And I ended up having to quit and leave because I was like, this is just not right. You're doing CrossFit and you're not giving anyone credit for it that deserves it. And I just couldn't take it. And so I just was really looking for clarity. And I knew that Don was going to be speaking at the games. Like he was going to come there and give sort of like a keynote speech to the affiliate owners at the games. But I didn't even know that I was going to go. And I was just kind of sitting around. I just felt a real, God sovereignly just kind of placed it on my heart to go. And so I rented a car like the day before the games, drove up to Wisconsin, went up there. I was coaching an athlete at the time who was like, hey, if you decide to come, I can get you a free ticket. And I was like, okay, great. And so I was walking in, and I remember like just vividly kind of stopping and just praying and just being like, Lord, if there's anyone here that I'm supposed to meet or I'm supposed to run into, like, let me run into them and don't let me miss it. And ended up running into Mike McElroy. And so he's one of the coaches for Mayhem Performance. And me and Mike had done OPEX back in like 2011, 2012. That's where we kind of met each other at like a weekend long certification course. And
in Arizona, you went to Arizona for that? Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But me and him had probably not talked in, I don't know, 8 years, like hadn't seen him. And I ran into him. And we talked and chatted for a minute, and he was like, yeah, I'm working for Mayhem. I'm doing, individual coaching for them. And I just told him, I said, hey man, if y'all are ever looking for someone, if you don't mind, like just keep my name in mind, and if the opportunity ever comes up, if you don't mind, just, let me know. And probably about 3 months later, I got a phone call from Jake Foster, and he was like, hey, I got your information from Mike, and just wanted to see if you'd be interested in talking about performance coaching through Mayhem. And then,
Did you know who he was at the time?
Foster?
No,
I had no idea.
You didn't know?
No.
And McElroy was a performance there.
Yeah, he was a performance coach at the time. I think.
There.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to go back a little bit, you went to seminary school?
I did. I've actually dropped out of seminary 3 times, so that's a neat fact.
Oh, wow, that's it. So, you graduated from high school, and did you go straight to seminary school?
No, I didn't get saved until I was like 21. I was 21 years old when I got saved. And so even then, though, I didn't go to seminary until me and my wife had been married, I think, for 2 years at the time. So it would have been like, I don't know, what was that? 14, 15 was when I went the first time to seminary.
And what is seminary school?
It's essentially just equipping pastors and ministers, right, to be able to proclaim God's word. So, it's basically where you're going to go to get a formal education in learning the biblical languages of Greek, Hebrew, right? You're going to learn church history at a good one, by the way. Okay, this is not every seminary, but you're going to learn church history. You're going to learn systematic theology, right? You're going to learn about missions. You're going to learn about what it means to lead a church, along with like all the sort of tentacles that come with that, with being in a nonprofit and structure and all that kind of stuff. So it's just equipping, right? It's a really extensive and laborious equipping for you to go into full-time ministry.
I don't mean this in a derogatory way, but it would be like going to like there's golf schools like that, right? So you could learn how to run a golf course, right? Like learn about all the grasses, the clubs, the people, the management. It's like that, but it's around. Does everyone who go to seminary? Does everyone who attend and follow through a seminary school, their aspirations is to run a church one day?
I don't know if run a church. I understand what you're saying. If you get an MDiv, you're probably going to be in some type of role where you're going to be handling the Bible and teaching people or pastoring people or preaching, right? Like you're doing roles along those sorts because that's what it's equipping you for. Okay. It doesn't mean that you would necessarily run church, but you might be like an associate pastor or discipleship pastor or something like that at a church where you're filling a role.
Are all pastors, did all pastors attend seminary school?
No.
It's not like a requirement. Like, like some jobs will say you could become a pastor without going to seminary school.
Yeah, 100%. And I've kind of moved past the point of like, I actually think that the way that you recognize leaders in the church is through your local body, right? Like they should be laying hands on you and affirming the gifts that they see within you that God's given you. And then they're essentially the ones calling you into ministry and being like, yeah, we affirm that these are the gifts that the Lord's given you. He's calling you to shepherd his flock, right? And we're going to equip you to do that within a local body. But not all churches have those kind of resources. Like to be able to have someone who can teach someone how to read Hebrew and how to translate it is really, that's a lot. That's a big requirement, right? And not all churches can do that. So that's why you have seminaries that have the resources to be able to do that.
Well, what was the word you used? An MDiv?
MDiv, yeah, Master's of Divinity, right? So it's technically a master's degree, and you get it in divinity.
Great follow-up question, Caleb. You're gonna have my job soon.
I don't know about that.
Hey, going back to what you're saying that like, if you're a pastor in a church or you're someone who's at the church and then you see someone in the flock, you walk over to them and you say, hey, you're made for this. And then you bring them in. You're saying that's a method also.
Yeah. I mean, it's a method in scripture, right? With 1 Timothy and 2 Timothy, where Paul is talking about the qualifications for elders, right? So in other words, if you want to be an elder in a church, you need to have and exhibit these qualities, right? Like, and so or
even if you don't want to be, those more specifically is kind of the part that intrigued me. Even if you don't want to be, if someone sees them, then you approach that person.
That would kind of be my take on it. Like, I don't think that we pick our callings or our vocations. I feel like our vocations are picked for us by how we're able to bless others. Right. I'm a coach because people have affirmed that in me, that I can help people that way. And that the Lord has given me certain giftings to be able to do this, right. Yeah. In a manner that maybe someone else can't. But he's given Savon you like amazing abilities and being able to interview people, right? And a gift for being able to want to know people and dig in and ask these kind of questions, right? Which allows you to do things in a way that others just can't. But I think that other people tell us that we don't get the right to pick and choose that. That's my opinion. And a lot of people would probably disagree with it. But
it's funny because there's this thing that people call imposter syndrome, and I've never really. The reason why it never made sense to me is like, I feel like everyone should feel like they're an imposter because of what my beliefs are of what we really are. And, but the one that, as soon as you said that, like the affirmation from others, the one that, and I've talked about this on the show endlessly, is of dad. When my kids were born, they just turned me into a dad. Yeah. I didn't like, they just did it. I was like, wow, that's some crazy magic. You guys, crazy witchcraft you guys did. Like, they just called me dad, not like I was dad.
Yeah, right.
And I've never been more certain about anything. It's like being my mom's son. Like, that's how certain I am about the role, right?
Yep.
It's kind of like it's kind of like husband too. It's kind of like husband too. Now that I think about it,
yeah, those titles.
It's important that your wife treats you like a husband so that you can.
Yeah. I don't think those titles are arbitrary. Like, those aren't just like bound in nature. I think those titles are God-given, and they do something to us because they're placed upon us by God's sovereignty. In other words, that like God has ordained for me to be a father, right? And I will be a father until the day that I die. And just like you said, right? Like, my kids changed me. My wife changed who I was.
Yeah, like that.
Immediately.
Yeah.
So
getting married's a weird one too, right? Jake, I got married for what was kind of make a confusing story a little bit, because I thought I got married. I was on a plane and there was turbulence, and I remember, and when there's turbulence, I start just going through like anyone's name who pops in my head, I'll say I love you. So I would say I love you, Caleb. I love you, Sean Woodland. I love you, Jake. I love you, Mom. You know what? Anyone, doesn't matter. I don't care. I just started doing that. And then this one time there was turbulence, and I heard, I can't believe you haven't married her. And it was like almost audible. I was like, and I don't have shit like that happen to me. And I'd never thought about marrying her. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then I was like, oh shit, we got to get married. But at the time I went to the courthouse, it was more for financial reasons. I was worried that if I died, or that, I didn't want shit to be complicated for her. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But 2 minutes after I was married, I was different.
Yep.
It was crazy. I felt so much better. I felt like better as a person. It was weird. It was like the last 5% I needed. It was crazy. Did you get that, Caleb, too? Did you feel great getting married?
Yeah, I really enjoyed getting married to my wife. I was a little bit younger, and I mean, my circumstances were probably more, and because it was like, oh, let's just get married because I'm joining the military, and that's a requirement, kind of, if you want to be with the woman that you love, kind of deal. But not to take away from the fact that I love my wife and I want to be with her every day, kind of thing. Like, being a husband to her is, I mean, my relationship with her, I feel like, is one of my greatest accomplishments to date.
Yeah, me too.
Like, I don't care what, I mean, I've done some pretty cool stuff, but my relationship with her is by far my favorite thing.
Yeah, it's almost like you become one with that person, right?
Yeah.
I believe I read that somewhere.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know it. If your wife's in a bad mood,
Mm-hmm.
you need to be present for her and help her through that, or else you're not. And it's not as cheesy as happy wife, happy life. It's more like there's something flowing between you, and if there's blockage or something, you need to completely give up yourself and help that person heal, or not help isn't the right word. Be present for them. Like, hey, like you got to get rid of Sevon, or you got to get rid of Jake or Caleb, and you got to be there because it affects everything, right? The whole flow. You are one. Same with your kids. You know what I mean? Your kid falls down, you're like, ow. You know what I mean? You're like, damn, that hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one giant emotional package at that point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you go to seminary school, and why do you drop out the first time?
How
old were you?
I was, gosh, man, I'm getting old. I think I was probably 24 when I went in the first time. Yeah.
So 3 years after you'd been saved.
Yeah.
Were you still looking for some answers, like some clarity? No. Okay.
No.
Just wanted to give back more, learn more, so you could give back more.
Well, I mean, I've always thought that I would go into full-time ministry. Like, I mean, I just knew that was something that I felt really called to. And like I said before, I had other people that had affirmed that. Right. And it was something
before you were 21.
No.
Okay.
After I got saved. And then, so anyways, the first time I got out was really, I was just dealing with a ton of anxiety and just like emotional stress. And just was one of those things where seminary was making it worse and I needed to take a step back. Right. And so like, I literally just withdrew from seminary and was like, let me get some focus. Let me get some clarity on, some issues in my life and just figure out what's going on in my own soul. Just because it was really dry at the time. Lord was just walking me through a lot of trials at that moment. And then when I did that though, right, like looking back now, I see God's hand through all of it in the sense that like, if I didn't leave seminary, then I don't own the gym. Right. And if I don't own the gym, I'm not doing anything that I'm doing right now, because like I got out of seminary. That's when I started my own coaching business. And I did that for about a year. And then the opportunity for the gym opened up, and that's when I bought it. Yeah.
What did your parents say when you entered seminary school? Were they happy for you, or are they like, oh man, he's going to be poor his whole life?
Oh no, I think that, I mean, they definitely probably thought I was gonna be poor, but I thought I was gonna be poor anyways. Like owning an affiliate is not like for making it. And my wife, when we talked like the very first time, I told her, I was like, hey, yeah, I'm probably going to go into ministry and be a pastor and make no money. So like, you need to know what you're getting into before we get into it. Right. So for her, I mean, yeah, for me to start making even as much money as I did when I bought the gym, it was like, oh my gosh, we're rich, we're loaded. So anyways, yeah, they were happy.
They were happy. Okay.
I mean, happy in the sense that like, they were like, hey, if this is something that you feel like the Lord's called you to, like, we 100% support you and want you to be able to go and do this.
How'd they feel when you dropped out?
They didn't care. They were just like,
they
were
really supportive.
They weren't disappointed by any means. They were just like, if you need to take some time, take some time. Yeah.
It's awesome.
Jake, can you share the story of how you were saved, or those that walk us through that?
Yeah, it's funny. I actually shared this on Sunday at my church. So that's ironic that, I mean, I'll try to give you a condensed version.
You don't have to, unless you have somewhere to go. I'm good.
No, I mean, I don't, but okay. So I grew up in a Christian home, right? Where like, and my mom got pregnant with me when she was 16. So like she had me when she was 17 years old. Right. And she was obviously married to my birth father. They were married for like a year. And then they got divorced. My mom got remarried when I was like 5 or 6. We moved, grew up with him, and like they always had me in church, but it was never anything that I wanted. Like I just had no time for it. I'm a 16, 15, 14-year-old kid. I just there are other things in the world that I want to be doing and that I care about. And it just seemed like all those things were far more important. And so
there weren't other friends there or pretty girls there or stuff like that, or like
there was, but they were also at school and at the ballpark.
Okay.
Like,
Right. So you guys could be somewhere at the arcade rather than
right.
church together. Okay.
I mean, yeah. Now arcade, Savon, you got to remember you're
sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. Sorry. I don't know. Okay. Go on.
Yeah.
Let it slide, Jake. Let it slide.
But so anyways, I just got really good at living a double life, right? Like really good at just being one person in front of my parents and in front of, who I needed to put a face on, right? At church on Sunday or Wednesday nights or whatever. And then living another way, throughout the week and on my own. When I got out of high school, no one was forcing me to go to church anymore, right? So I just quit. Like I didn't have time for it, didn't want to do it. I come from a long line of alcoholics on my biological father's side of the family. And once I got out of high school, those trends were starting to pop up like in my life. Like I was starting to drink really heavily. But it's kind of unique because at the same time I was finding CrossFit. And when I found CrossFit, you can't be hammered every day doing CrossFit. It just doesn't work, right?
You could. It's not fun.
It's fair. You could.
Right.
It's not fun. And so anyways, so what would happen though is I started drinking less frequently, but so much more intense when I would drink that I would just forget everything, right? For, a day. And so I had some friends come in town one night, right? We went over to a buddy's house and just got blitzed out of my mind and ended up getting into like some fights with some people that like, if I were sober, I never would have harmed, right? Like never would have touched a hand or laid a hand on them. And
because they're friends or because you just would,
and I'm not, I was actually a violent person then in terms of like had anger issues. I'm not anymore, but, so anyways, I woke up the next morning though and had no idea that happened. And for whatever reason, that scared the hell out of me. Like when I tell you that it like shook me to my core that I could do something like that and have no memory of it whatsoever. It was just, there's a story in the Bible about the prodigal son who goes off and he's eating out of a trough and he realizes like, wait a minute, like my father's servants, like people who are servants in my father's house have it better than what I have it right now. Like what's going on? Like, what am I doing with my life? That was my moment of just looking in the mirror and being like, I have no idea who this person is, but this is not who I want to be. And so from that moment on, I just picked up a Bible and started reading. And I had no idea what I was reading for like 3-4 months, just started reading. And then randomly, like one night I'm reading some obscure passage. I don't remember what I was reading. It was in 1st or 2nd Samuel out of the Old Testament. God just in his mercy, like he opened my eyes to see Jesus, like, and not just to have knowledge of the gospel, but like when I tell you that it wasn't like the room glue or there was some like angelic vision or anything like that. It was just, I saw Jesus on the cross. And at that moment, I knew that he did that for me. Right. Like
even though you were, and that hadn't happened yet because you were still in the Old Testament.
Correct.
But you had gone to church, but you knew.
Yeah, I've heard the gospel, I had heard the gospel hundreds and hundreds of times before that. Right. But this time the gospel came to me with power. Like it came to me with power that made me alive. Like God breathed into my body in that moment and I wept like a child. I just cried and cried and cried. And I just kept asking God, why? I was just like, why? Why would you die for me? Why would you do that? And I remember the next morning, like I cried myself to sleep that night, got in the car the next morning and I was going to the gym. I was going to CrossFit Huntsville to work. It's like 4:45 in the morning. I'm sitting at a stoplight. No one else is on the road. And I just stop at that stoplight for probably like 5 minutes. I don't know how long I was there. And I was just looking around and it was like I was seeing for the very first time. It was like, I am alive. Like I was dead and now I am alive. And there were just things in my life from that moment forward. Don't get me wrong. I still have a ton of sin and issues in my own life, but there were habits in my life that when I tell you from that moment forward, they were gone and they've never come back. Right. And so, yeah.
Just briefly, I know it's not a super relevant part of the story, but what's Samuel in the Old Testament? What's the synopsis of that story?
1st and 2nd Samuel are the story of King David, right? So it's a story of David's life from him being anointed essentially, right? and being called up to being king, all the battles that he goes through, being persecuted by Saul. And Samuel is the prophet in the Old Testament who anoints David as king.
Oh, and I think my sister called me yesterday and said, "Hey, you got to see this show. Is there a show called David now?"
I think there is. Yeah.
She's like, after you're done with the shows and watch David or something. There's
House of David, I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if she is I don't know if she's seen it yet. And did people around you know that? So there was some shift in you, some cataclysmic shift or shedding or rebirth?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I had people just kind of be like, "Hey dude, what happened to you? Because you are different."
And those people that you fought with, did you end up making amends with them?
No, they never reached out to talk to me about it again.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
I tried. Yeah. But
yeah.
Yeah.
It's good, Sevi. The Samuel or the show? Oh yes, we're watching it. It's good. Wow. And then so that happens to you. And are you do you feel not grounded after that, or do you still feel grounded? You feel a little lost after that? Or
after I got saved?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd never felt more grounded in my life. I didn't know what grounded was until that happened. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
And so you go to seminary school, and then you go back a second time?
Yeah. Yeah. I actually went back. I had gotten the gym up running to where I own my affiliate and I'm still involved in my affiliate, but my affiliate very much for the most part runs itself. Like I have very good coaches in place that my primary job right now is not being on the floor coaching. It's not doing personal training. It's taking care of my coaches and making sure that they have everything they need to be able to take care of my members. That's how I view my role at my affiliate. And so when I had gotten it to a point to where that was the case, freed up some space for me, I decided to go back. And then ironically enough, I can't get into the details of this. I don't want to, but I was in my hardest semester of seminary. I had a brand new baby at the time. And one of my coaches, I ended up having to fire for some reasons. They did the most. When I tell you the most, they were coaching 20, 25 hours a week on the floor. They were doing sales. They were doing all that kind of stuff. Right. And so when I had to let them go, it required me immediately with all that other stuff that I had going on to go right back into that full time and manage and juggle all these other things. And when I tell you it put me in a hole, man, it just put me in a hole for 6 months that I was like, I can't go back. When I got out of that semester, I was like, we got to catch our breath a little bit, for my family's sake. And so, yeah, that's why I left the second time.
I know you said you didn't want to get into it, but let me ask you this. Whatever happened between you and that person, do you accept them for it? I don't want to use the word forgive because that's the presupposition that you were angry at them, but do you accept them for their past?
No, I was very angry at them. So yes, but I 100%. But I 100% forgive them. Yeah. And have tried to have some conversations and stuff like that afterwards. Right. And it's just, man, life in an affiliate, I probably have a different take than maybe a lot of people on community and affiliates, I've been through the ringer now with being in CrossFit enough where I've seen cliques and communities and stuff like that come and go. They're great and they can have a lot of value, but then you always have these cliques where, every 6 months or so, something happens, someone sleeps with someone they're not supposed to, someone does something and it just breaks up and then a new one forms and it's just a cycle all over and over and over and over again. And so anyways, maybe I'm jaded, but yeah.
Do you know, is it easy for you to forgive people?
No, it's impossible for me to forgive people.
Oh, interesting. But you do forgive this person.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Was your mom or dad or stepdad very forgiving of you? When you were getting in trouble, were they very forgiving of you?
Yeah, no, my parents were amazing. Yeah. Like when I say amazing, I mean, they were amazing. Yeah. They were very quick to discipline me. Right. But to also, like express forgiveness, 100%. Yeah. So, I mean, they modeled that for me.
When I was a kid, my dad owned a liquor store, and he had this drawer in his bathroom. And anytime he would get old coins, someone would come pay with a quarters or a silver dollar or $2 bill, he put them in this drawer. So this drawer was just full of silver coins.
Oh, wow.
And he would go to work, and I was, I don't know, 10 years old, and I would take silver coins out of there and then go buy illegal fireworks.
Mm-hmm.
And one day I hear the phone ring, and my dad says, "Hey, I noticed some silver coin." This is after like a month. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And my dad calls me from work, and he says, "Hey, I noticed there's silver coins missing. Have those back before I come home."
What do you do?
Oh, shit.
I'm like, I'm fucked.
Yeah.
I'm fucked.
Yeah.
And my dad came home, and I remember being so scared.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like so scared, like the end of the world scared. And my dad came in and just gave me a hug and a kiss, and like that was it. It was, like, you know what I mean? I can't remember what he said to me, but like I knew never to, like I knew that. Yeah. I didn't need a whooping. I didn't need nothing. And that I don't mean to beat a dead horse, but that brings me back to the Kale Lehman thing. It's like, yeah, he knows, like he's freaked out. He knows. It's not my job to fucking like, right. I'm who I am. I don't need to hate him.
Yeah.
Because of what he did. I can still love him. I am who I am. I do what I do. Mm-hmm. And my dad could have easily slapped me legitimately. It'd have been fine. Hey, dipshit.
Yeah.
But he didn't.
Ironic though that, I mean, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I would imagine that your dad's kindness in that moment was more shocking to you, right? And probably made you never want to do that again than if he had to come in and just beat the crap out of you, right?
Yeah. And I wonder if that's why it makes me so easy to forgive other people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, scripture talks about God's kindness leading us to repentance, right? And that God's kindness does the same thing to us. Like he could judge us for our sins at any moment, but the fact that we're alive and breathing, he hasn't, right? And that kindness is meant to lead us to repentance. So,
yeah, I forgot all about that. God, that was a fucking scary night. I really did have fun buying the fireworks though. And the other kid, and I wasn't stupid about it. You know what I mean? I'd be like, I knew that they were silver coins. So they'd be like, hey, it's $1.25 for a pack of bottle rockets. I'm like, but this quarter's from 1947. And then I would trade them in 1947. I probably still wasn't getting market value, but okay. So that's number 2. And then number 3, but by the way, my dad went to seminary school.
Oh, really?
My dad, in Beirut, he went to seminary school. I mean, it was the only it was in high school, but it was the only high school around.
Yeah, right. Yeah, actually,
go to school.
The third time I dropped out was actually this semester. It was like a month ago. Yeah, I just said I'm done. So, and I think third time's a charm. I figured it out. I'm not going back. So,
and why is that? Why is that?
I think that I have certain things that I know for a fact, without a doubt, the Lord has called me to. The Lord has called me to be a husband. He's called me to be a father. He's called me to be a gym owner. He's called me to be a coach for Mayhem, right? And like the way that I was brought to Mayhem, I think was really important for me because I was going to need that affirmation and that confidence that this was something that I was supposed to be doing, right? And so when seminary started taking away from my ability to do those other things faithfully, it was like, okay, it's pretty clear. Like, this is not something I have to be doing, and it's hindering me from doing these other things the way that the Lord has called me to. I need to let it go. And like, you know what? If down the road, 20 years from now, the Lord wants me in ministry, like, so be it. He'll put me in there. Like, I don't need to try to force this. And so, yeah, that's just kind of where I'm at now.
I'm assuming they have seminary school online too. I'm assuming like.
Yeah, they do. I'm not, and I mean, you can do that. I'm not a huge fan of it. I think a lot of that formational stuff, that's really important work. Like, I don't really know, like, and you go to seminary not because you need to learn like systematic theology, like with the resources online and through the internet, you can get knowledge anywhere. Like you really can. Okay. It's a dime a dozen. But in terms of like really how to care for people and how to oversee their souls and how to like, just all the things that come with prayer and like devotion and all that stuff, like that stuff has to be formed in you by other people around you that you follow and you just pick up on. Like, I really think that's how that's supposed to be done. So,
hey, like the level one, you go there thinking you're going to get some sort of education, but you leave with a huge piece of the CrossFit culture, or at least you used to. Right. I don't know if you do anymore, but the culture was set there.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was a huge piece in 2009 when you went. The culture was like crazy.
Dude, it was, yes, this is how we do things and there is no other way. And like, I miss it. But
yeah, and just like you go in there and you're with strangers, and 2 days later they're your best buds.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that shit was cool. And so Jake Foster calls you 3 months later.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
After McElroy was the one who you ran into at the games.
Yeah.
And then he calls you, and what's the interview process like?
It was a couple of phone calls. It was one phone call. Sorry. One phone call just to kind of gauge interest, right? And see like, hey, is this something that you even think you'd want to do? Like, we have a potential opening. Then it was, I think, a Zoom call that we did, or a Google Meet call that we did, where it was a formal interview between me and Jake Foster, right? Or it was just interview questions about program design, nutrition, right? All that kind of stuff. And then after that was, I had to submit like some program designs for some things, right? So in other words, just kind of like, let me see, how you would progress on, someone who needs to improve on their thruster mechanics or whatever it may be. And then after that was, once we were kind of like, okay, we want you to come up to Mayhem. So I drove up to Mayhem like middle of the week on a Wednesday, because that's when Foster usually goes to Mayhem every Wednesday. Met Rich, did a workout with everyone that morning, and then had another interview with Foster and Lockhart at the same time. And it wasn't super formal. It was just kind of like, hey, let's just ask some questions, talk. And then a few days later, Jake Foster called me and was like, hey, yeah, we'd like to officially offer you the position.
And it's kind of like, I bet you there's some questions in there like that when you slid into your wife's DMs, like, hey, what church do you go to? Like was one of the questions like, what's your favorite passage in the New Testament?
No, it wasn't.
What's your favorite Psalm?
No, it wasn't that, but I do give Jake Foster a ton of credit for, Mayhem is going to attract a certain type of person, right? Because their values are so strong and because they hold to those values so tightly, right? Like, I'm sorry, there are certain people that are not going to be a good fit at Mayhem. And that's okay. Just like there's certain people who aren't going to be a good fit at my affiliate. And so anyways, Foster did a really good job, I think, of understanding that for the performance coaching, he needed culture first, and he needed to hire based on culture rather than, and I'm not saying that, first off, our coaches are world-class. They're all very good, but he was looking for people who aligned with the values. And that doesn't mean, he didn't ask me if I was a Christian. Right. He was just asking me, just certain questions about my life, like how, and I told him on the phone the first day, I was like, hey, if this were anyone other than Mayhem, I would not be considering this because I don't need this job. Like, I don't need a job to make more money. I don't need, some of the stresses that I know that are going to come with it, all that stuff. But because it's Mayhem and it's part of being something bigger, like, yeah, I'd like to do it.
What does that mean because it's Mayhem?
It's the standard, right? Like, there is nothing, in the entire CrossFit space, it is the standard, in my opinion. And, I think that you and Brandon talked about this on, I think when you had him on, like, you kind of see Mayhem as like, oh, they're just a bunch of gym bros, just kind of, and I think that's sort of a stipulation. Like, you have certain programming brands in the space. So like Training Think Tank, right? Like, they're sort of the people who have all the knowledge about everything and they're the smartest, right? And then you have Brute, who's probably just kind of like giving the middle finger to everyone and being like, yeah, look at the
podium, right.
Like,
right, okay.
And then you have Mayhem, and it's just a bunch of gym bros who just are kind of, working out, but they don't really know a lot. They don't know what they're doing, right? And that couldn't be any further from the truth. So I don't even know where I was going down on that tangent. But
here's the part where I got my red. I hate's too strong. I never wanted to work with people who didn't need a job. So when do you know what I mean? Because to me, they were always the weak link. Like we were all trying to do our best because we needed this and we needed this we were building the boat that we were going to sail on. It wasn't like, we're selling the boat. You know what I mean? Like this boat can't sink because when we're done building it, we're getting in it. Great metaphor, Sevi. So when you said that, kind of put me on the defensive or on guard when you told him you didn't need it.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think there's a flip side of that coin where you have some people who are going to work every day because they have to, not because they want to.
Right.
And I think that's a big difference, right? Like you have people who are going to work because they just have to get a paycheck and they hate what they do. But if they don't go, they don't put food on the table.
Like
right?
90% of the people at HQ.
Yeah,
sorry, I couldn't resist.
There you go. So, yeah. And so for me, I mean,
Mayhem's an employment brand. People are proud, excited.
Yes.
Like they're tickled when they get up. They get to put on their Mayhem shirt.
And you understand that like there are no weak links because you don't become the standard in what you're doing by not really, really caring and going above and beyond. Like that doesn't happen just by accident. Right. You know, I'm unbelievably blessed for the job that I have and I love it, but I do not need it. Like at any point I can drop it and be like, hey, yeah, I'm just going to go run my affiliate. I'm going to go back to seminary, but I don't want to do that. I want to keep doing what I'm doing because I love it that much. So,
right. So you're there and, how do you end up with Hatfield?
For the biblical term is sovereignty and providence. So providence would be the biblical term. And what I mean by that is it was literally just, I had started working in December. I think it was February or March. And I was up at a camp. We were doing one of our performance camps. And 2 days before that, they were doing an elite camp. Okay.
So you got Hatfield by the protective care of God or in nature as a spiritual power. Okay, good. That's good. That's strong opening line.
And then, so anyways, they needed, he wanted to coach, right? And at the time, Jake Foster, I think, was already coaching like 3 games athletes. He was coaching Gee, he was coaching Paige Powers. I think he was coaching one other.
Sorry, 1 second, Jake. So he shows up to a Mayhem camp. It's like a 5-day or 2-day weekend camp. And there's this. Okay. And did you know who he was? And you were one of the coaches at this camp.
Correct. Yeah.
And how many athletes are there?
Probably 15 to 20.
And how many of them already have coaches? Like
the majority. Vast majority.
The majority. So he was in the minority by not having a coach.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Okay, go ahead. I just wanted to feel that situation.
Yeah, and he wanted one, and they needed someone, to coach him. And all the other coaches. I mean, Mike was already coaching Luke Parker, I think, at the time, and Mike coaches way more online clients than I do.
This is Mike McElroy.
Okay. Yeah. And so, anyways, they were like, "Hey, we think you'd be a good fit with him, and why don't you sit down and talk with him, and then start coaching him?" And so, literally, me and Austin just sat down. The first time I ever saw him, we sat down in a room and we just talked. And it was like me asking him questions about just kind of like how long he'd been doing CrossFit, trying to get to know him a little bit better. And like, if you think, first off, Austin has come like miles and miles better than what he was like interview and just comfortability wise. When I was talking to him, it was like pulling teeth to get him to say more than like a word in that meeting.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So like it was, and so anyways, I'm sitting
and he always kind of has this grin like he took one bite off a mushroom chocolate bar. He's always like,
yeah.
I'm like this. like he's like when I could skin you like a cat. Like that's what he's thinking. I could skin you like a bunny.
Yeah. And so I
You're
just
like, hi. He's like,
yeah. I'm like, hey man, how you doing? Like, you enjoyed the camp this week? He's like, yeah, it's all right. And it's like,
okay, good talk, dude. Cool.
Yeah, exactly. And so like the first impression that I had with Austin though was I was asking him like some metrics. I was like, hey dude, like tell me a little bit about, because I did not know who he was. Like I had heard that he had won Crash and that he, and I was like, okay, like he's obviously got some potential, right?
Yeah.
But when I start asking him like, hey, what's your back squat PR? And he's like 550 for 5. And I'm like,
liar.
Okay. I'm like, yeah. Bullshit. I'm like, all right. And then I'm like, well, what's And then I'm like, well, what's like your mile run PR time? He's like 5:20, 5:15. And I'm like, okay, what's, a couple benchmark scores? And he gives them to me. And I'm like, what is going on right now? Like and so
Was he
anyway,
impressive at the camp too?
I'm sure he liked the camp. Yeah.
Was he impressive? Was he like standing out in the camp? Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Okay. So you knew he wasn't full of shit. You're like, yeah, I seen you go.
Yeah. Right. And so after that point on, basically what we had worked out is he had been following Mayhem compete for like the past year. And this was like only a month, maybe out, or a month and a half out from semis, right? Like it was after the open. I think maybe quarterfinals were going to come up. I can't remember, but it was too soon since me not knowing him for me to just come in and be like, hey, let me overhaul all your programming and just start doing this from scratch. So I would write a couple sessions a week for him.
And you said he was doing Mayhem what?
The compete track, just like on
okay.
what you can, like their games track.
Okay.
And so anyways, I just said, why don't you keep following that? Let me write some stuff for you in addition to it and replace a couple sessions here and there so that I can observe over these next few weeks and understand you better as an athlete. And we did that up until semis. And then after semis, it was one of those things where myself, Jake Lockhart, Jake Foster, Dom, we all got on a call every week and we programmed out our games track for, the 20 Mayhem athletes we had that were going to the games. And so we were all doing that together. He followed that through the games. And then after the games, that's when I started doing everything for him at that point.
Hey, is that contentious, those meetings?
No, not at all.
No?
No.
You're not like, hey, fucknuts, double unders have been in every games and there's not enough in here. And then Dom's like, no, not this year. And you're like, yes, huh?
No.
No, it doesn't go. No, okay.
I mean, we definitely have some disagreements sometimes about like, no, I think this is going to come up. And someone's like, I don't think so. But you just leave it there. I mean, it
okay.
is. Yeah.
Okay. So he does that. And then he went to the games last year?
He did. He was 10th.
And were you there? God, that's crazy. And were you there with him as his coach?
Yep.
And was that that's like up until that point, that was the most time you had spent with him? Yeah,
semis. I coached him. I coached
him
person at semis, so like that, I got a chance to really kind of figure out. Man, any athlete that you work with, you've got to kind of figure out how they operate, right? Like how they need to navigate certain situations, right? You got to learn how to read the room, what kind of communication style fits them best, right? And all of that. And I really got a good handle on that. I felt like at semis and the games. The games was like probably, obviously, I mean, it's 4 or 5 days. And with everything that happened at the games, it was a good opportunity for me to continue to get to know him.
Is he easy to coach?
He's super easy to coach, dude. Like, and I don't really know if people would, just automatically think that. But when I tell you that he does what I say, and like, he's not 100% compliant in the sense that like he'll add stuff to his programming every now and then just because he wants to make sure that he's doing enough. But like, he follows what I give him. And like that required, like when I think back on it, like with his potential and to not know me, he didn't pick me as a coach. I was kind of like chosen for him, right? For him to work with. Like that was a lot of trust that he had to put in me.
Crazy trust.
Crazy
trust.
Yeah. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I feel that in the sense that like, that's a huge responsibility for me. Like, and I feel that as a coach, because when I tell you that Austin will be as good as Austin wants to be, and there is nothing anyone else in the entire sport can stop it. He's that good. And I'm not blowing smoke. I'm telling you, he's got everything it takes to get to the top and to stay at the top.
Yeah, he's a pretty impressive package how he presents intellectually, emotionally, and physically. Just like, all the superficial shit that I see just from looking on the outside.
Yeah.
He looks, you know what I mean? It's like a Formula One race car. I don't know what's on it underneath it, but when that thing pulls up to the starting line and I hear it, I'm like, shit.
Yep.
It is kind of crazy. There's things my kid has been flying these remote control airplanes, and they're not like drones. They're like active, and you have to be flying them. And and they're made of just like styrofoam or balsa wood. Like you can't crash them. It's not like a drone where you can land it or hit a panic button. If it goes down, you're down. Yeah. And he's young. He's 10. And it's kind of like, and so if anyone asks to fly it, I always just fend them off. Shoot, like other kids, shoot. Like, no, go practice on a computer or something. It's kind of like that with someone at Austin's level. As tough and as badass as they are, there's some things that are like the seconds and the margins you're working with, right? It's like it's you don't want to fuck it up. It's fragile.
Yeah, and
fragile might not be the right word.
No, I think that you don't
like turning a knob too much, a sensitive knob, and you're like, oh shit, this is too loud.
You don't want to make a mistake, but at the same time, you can't coach someone like that afraid. Like you can't, because if you do, you're gonna hold them back, right? And you can't they're in this to win, and this is their livelihood, and he has the opportunity to like really change the course of his life, right? And you can't go into that afraid. Like I can't go into that as a coach afraid, because he's going to feel that and he's going to know that, right? And so even if I am, guess what? I'm hiding it. He's never seeing it. So
put that shit down. That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, it's like that scene in Top Gun 2 where he flies the plane faster than it's supposed to go. It's like, hey, everyone just has to sack it up, and like this is where champions are made. Yep.
Then you have to take risks like that, right? You know, like even in program design and stuff like that, you have to do some things sometimes that like it's not reckless, right? But it might be a little risky. So yeah.
Have you thought about moving to Cookeville?
Only to plant a church, not really for any other reason than that.
Like just like you've just like daydreamed about that, like go to Cookeville and open a church.
Yeah. We just right now. Our church here, like we love it, and it would actually be probably the biggest factor in us leaving is I don't want to leave that. But then in addition to that, actually that might not be the biggest factor. The biggest factor is that I have in-laws here who help with our kids.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
You know, and like we're about to have 3 under the age of 4, and it's like I work multiple jobs, and then my wife has a full-time job. Like for us to uproot and just to not have that support structure would be really, really tough. So,
and what a great gift you're giving your children by letting them be around their grandparents.
Yeah. And like it's actually been really neat that you bring that up. My wife's parents, she had a younger brother who died when he was like, I think he was 4 or 5. He drowned in a hot tub at a birthday party for them. And so like, obviously it was just, you know, a tragic situation all the way around, but
this is your sister's brother.
This is my wife's family. Yeah.
But sorry, not your sister. Jesus, Louise. No. Your wife's brother. She lost a brother. Wow, that's intense.
It is. But so seeing us have kids, right? And we're the only, like my wife has 2 other siblings, but we're the only, you know, grandkids that they have. And so them being able to see sort of like, I don't know if healing's the right word, but the joy that they get out of like seeing their grandkids, right, is something that, I wouldn't want to take away from them because they love it.
I've asked that question a few times on the podcast. I don't know exactly what the relationship is, but like when someone loses a sibling and then you have kids, do you see that it helps heal the parents? And I would think that it would.
Yeah.
I do know this. I was once I had one of the things that happened to me when I had kids is that I don't know exactly how to word it, but not that I want my parents to die, but I really didn't want my parents to die. And when I had kids, something there got settled.
Yeah. Right.
Like it was like, it's interesting, but I always wondered about that. Yeah. It must be amazing. I mean, I can't imagine losing a child, but it must be absolutely amazing when your remaining children have more kids.
Yeah. I think it's just like you've been through the valley at that point, right?
Yeah.
Like you've gone through the ringer, right? And like your life is forever altered by something like that. It's not like, hey, let's just kind of spend some time with you for a couple of weeks and then you'll figure it out and move on. Yeah. It's like, no, 10 years down the road, you're walking through your living room, right? And it just hits you like a wave of grief, right? And it comes and it goes. And so like to have their grandkids, I think is just so much a symbol to them of God's kindness to them. Like, hey, what we went through was really hard. Like really hard. And we don't know why you did that to us, but you know, getting through it on the other side, it's not because you're not good. And it's not because you're not kind or you don't love us. and like grandkids, I think, are just a reminder to them of that. So
there was somewhere, I wonder where I put it. There was somewhere, it was interesting. There was this, I wonder if I wrote it in my notes. No. Damn. There was this one thing about, maybe it'll pop up in my notes. Maybe I have it here in my notes. Let me see this. Let me pull this. Sorry, there was something that I saw in the Bible yesterday when I was digging around in your Instagram that then that brought me to a story that basically was saying, "Hey, I'm taking here, but I'm giving back later." But I can't find the exact quote. I want to ask you about competing free. And I'll ask you the exact follow-up question soon. I want everyone to hear this here real quick. This is from the Mayhem Performance Coaching podcast. Here we go.
Sport is a great thing, and competition is a great, good thing. It is a terrible God. It just is. And like, if all of your hope is wrapped up in that, right, you will be crushed. When we say we want to coach the whole person, okay, plain and simple, we have people who do Mayhem Performance Coaching who don't believe the same things that we believe, right? But what we want to do is we want to be able to get them to at least to a place where they can compete freely, right? Where they can go out and feel like they have nothing to lose, right? So that way they can reach their fullest potential in the sport. Now, for us, that identity is rooted in Christ, right? Like, that verdict has already been given, okay? So we can go and we can have everything to fight for and nothing to lose at the same time. And I'm telling you right now, you don't want to face that competitor on the competition floor. You don't, because they're dangerous, right? And that's what we want to try to do with our approach to coaching our athletes.
So, what's it look like to compete free? And I think the word you used, in Christ. But then for someone who doesn't believe what you believe, what's the other way look like?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to that question. And I'm trying to think of where to start. I think that when we talk about coaching the whole person, we want people to compete freely, right? It basically means that if my identity is wrapped up in how I place in a leaderboard, right, then if I have a good competition, I'm good, right? I'm a good person. I've got value. I've got worth. If I place poorly, guess what? My value as a human being, right, is now diminished. Okay. And that's a terrible way to go through life. Not only a terrible way to go through life, it's just not true and it's not real. Right. So what we want to do is we want to try to, I can't remember. We were doing a Bible study one time at Mayhem, and that line kind of came to me about, like, who's the worst competitor? Like, what is your idea of the worst person you would never, ever want to have to compete against? Like, who would be that person? Right. And that person in my mind would be the person who has absolutely everything to gain from doing well and absolutely nothing to lose from doing poorly. Right. Because they can go and they can lay it all on the line. And no matter what happens, it happens. Right. And that's a scary person to be competing against. So that's kind of what I'm trying to get at there. Now, for someone who doesn't have a relationship with Christ, right? And that's what they want. They could probably do, if I actually wanted them to be a really good competitor, I would probably make them believe that their entire worth was wrapped up in sport, right? Because they're going,
I didn't see that coming.
you understand what I'm saying? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because that's the truth, right? Like, think about all the people that are excellent at their craft. What are they? They are obsessed with it. It is their life. And if you were to take that away from them, they have nothing. Nothing. Right. They have to be that good because their livelihood and who they are depends on it. And so, I mean, I don't know if that answered your question or not.
Hey, that's kind of interesting because in the most superficial sense, it's like that. There's that selfish part with your kids too. That's the part that's weird, right? Obviously, it's a tragedy if you lose your child, but also your own identity is just thrown into chaos.
Exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And don't get me wrong, like, I don't want to give off the impression that we don't want our athletes to win or that doesn't matter to us. That 100% matters to us. Like, we are in the business of winning at Mayhem. That's what we're, right? And so, like, that is the expectation going in. Trust me, Austin's going into WFP to win. He's going into the CrossFit Games to win.
Right.
Okay? But at the same time, he can do that in a way maybe that others can't, right? If he has that rooting and that grounding in Christ. So,
yeah, I had a buddy one time who was a foreign exchange student, and he was leaving the country in 2 weeks to go back home. And there was this girl that he really liked, and I'm like, "Hey, dude, we're going over to her house. Let's go." And he goes, "I'm like, you like her?" And he goes, "I don't want to start anything with her." And he goes, "Why?" He goes, "Because it's gonna hurt too much, like in 2 weeks." I was like, "Listen, you jackass. We could die tomorrow,
dude.
Yeah, we could die tomorrow. Maybe she'll come home with you. Maybe you'll fall in love with her. Like, what the? Maybe she like
you got to risk it. You got to risk
like
it.
dude, like." But that was the first time I realized, oh shit, some people are afraid of emotional pain.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing more. Some of my most lively moments are coming home in the 6th grade when a girl told me she didn't like me and crying in my bed. Emotional pain's powerful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. You can't be afraid of that shit. You got to take that shit head on.
Mm-hmm.
Let it hurt. Let that heart get broken. Let that shit hurt.
Yeah.
There's a lot of creativity there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of energy there, and some people I don't think see it until, God, I hope I don't sound like Bryce Smith. There's a lot of power in emotional energy that people aren't even aware of until they have hurt, and then they're like, oh shit, maybe I could harness this shit some other way.
Yeah, right.
When my kids are pissed, I always remind them of like, hey, at some point you'll have enough discipline to harness that any way you want. I always just tell them that, and then let them spin out of control. They're like, "Are you crazy?"
Yeah. And like my view is that like the gospel allows us to be able to take those risks and to feel that pain and that disappointment in a way that we can't if we don't have the gospel, right?
Like you're not alone. Don't worry, you're not going to die. You're going to be okay. It's going to be okay. You got Jesus.
I can hope and I can lay it on the line and fall short and still at the end of the day just know that that's exactly what the Lord wanted for me, and I can feel that disappointment and I can give it to him and I don't have to hide it from him, right? But it allows me to live fully in the way that I'm supposed to. I don't have to be afraid of pain. I don't have to be afraid of hurt. Like I can go and I can live and I can give it everything that I need to, or take the risk that I need to as well. So, yeah.
Do you know this term, righteousness?
I do.
Yeah. I looked it up last night, not have anything to do with this podcast. It was just I was trying to understand something. Oh no, sorry, not righteousness. Self-righteousness. Sorry, self-righteousness. Do you know that term?
I do. I'm quite self-righteous. So yeah.
One's own moral superiority.
Yeah.
I don't get self-righteousness. It sounds like a bad thing.
Yeah.
But I don't get that from you. But I've been there's certain people in my life where I get that. I didn't know what I was picking up from them.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started getting it a little bit. I started like thinking, oh, what do these people have in common?
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on that? I don't get any self-righteousness from you.
I mean, well, I definitely struggle with it. So,
give me an example of how it would manifest.
I mean, it's really just like thinking that you know better than other people and acting and living that way, right? Like I've got the answers, I've got the way, and I'm better than this other person because I don't do X, Y, or Z, right?
Is it that last part? I'm better than that other person?
Yeah. It's not like you may not come out and fully just say that like that bluntly, right? But it's how you're acting and subconsciously how you're viewing that other individual as less than because they don't do this, and this.
I think if you burn stuff and inhale the fumes, you're fucking your lungs up. I'm like convinced of that. You know what I mean? Whether it's tobacco or marijuana or you're next to a house on fire. Like I just think that I know that.
I think all reasonable people would agree.
Yeah. And I think that and I think if you do that, you're hurting yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that if you do that, if I saw you smoking cigarettes and we were about to get in a fight, I'd be like, okay, I just got to make this go longer than 30 seconds.
Right.
You know, but if I don't think I'm better than the person, have I not crossed over into self-righteousness?
No, I think that's care. Like, right. Or well, not care. Sorry. I mean, I think that's just being like, that's just recognizing that someone's harming themselves. It's not being, but self-righteousness would be like, you stupid idiot. right? Like, how are you going to do that? You know, and then being like, I'm not that stupid. I don't make those kind of mistakes in my life. That's crossing over into self-righteousness.
I always give the most in church when the plate gets passed around. Is that self-righteousness?
Right. Yeah. That, or like I'm always, yes. Or like, I haven't missed a Sunday at church in, 5 years, or like, I don't cuss, or I don't look at porn, or whatever it may be. And then hearing someone with a little heart just kind of being like, yeah, I'm a little bit better than you,
Yeah. It's a trip. I want, what do you think that's rooted in? What do you think you think that's because, like, I don't care that people are like that, but it puts me, it makes me want to like take a step back. Like, I'm not upset at them for doing that at all.
Mhm.
Like, I like people who have self-belief. Like, I have no issue with like arrogance,
Yeah.
but it's the fact that when your arrogance is like about like making you better than other people.
Yeah. Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're like, I'm the greatest, like I'm happy. You know what I mean? I'm the strongest. Like, I'm okay. But there's this almost like, I don't know. What do you think it's rooted in? Just some sort of insecurity, or?
I mean, the Bible tells us it's rooted in our own pride. So like, that's kind of how, like, we're always looking to be enough in and of ourselves. And for us to be enough in and of ourselves, we have to be better than other people, right? Like, we have to have something that kind of elevates us, right, above the need of anything else. And that requires me to have everything that I need right here. And so like, that's kind of, there are some parables in scripture that talk about it, about self-righteousness. Like the Pharisee and the publican is one, which is in the Gospel of Luke, where like two guys are going down to the temple to pray. And there's a Pharisee, or there's a tax collector there. And the tax collectors in the New Testament would have been like the most sinful of the sinful of the entire society, right? Because they cheated people. Like, they would be like, hey, taxes for the Roman government are $100, but you got to pay me $200, right? Because I'm going to. You understand what I'm saying?
So it wasn't so much that they were tax guys; it was the fact that they were skimming some shit off the top.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you got a tax collector, and then you got a Pharisee who's going down to the temple to pray, and you've got this Pharisee who's praying to God, and he's being like, God, I thank you that I'm not like other people. I tithe this much. I do this many good deeds, this many good work. I'm not like this other man over here. And he's pointing to the tax collector, right? He's saying, thank you that I'm not like this guy. Right. And the tax collector is sitting there weeping, and he's beating on his chest, and he won't even look his head up to the sky because he's so ashamed of his own sin. And he's just saying, have mercy on me. I'm a sinner. Right. Like, that's the picture of self-righteousness. Right. And then dependence and faith in Jesus. So, yeah.
Is people being mad at K.O. Lehman make them self-righteous, you think?
If you think you're better than him, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you think
that you just fuck Caleb up.
I mean, it's one of those things where, like, if you have not taken like a serious look at your own heart and been like, I know, like, I may not have done that, but I know I'm capable of it. Right. Like, there's part of me that's capable of doing something that dishonest and carrying it out. Yeah.
Yeah. I could justify it so easy if there was a I mean, I'll just use something completely preposterous, but there's 10 dying kids and there's only one pill. I would cut in line and get that pill for my kid. Right. No problem.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. No, I would sin and just be like, fuck, I'll take the lashings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know if I like that analogy as being like sinful necessarily. Like, we'd all want our
right. I mean, there's some tough calls. My sister said to me recently, she said, you know why you don't want to judge people, or you don't want to do that shit to them, like you want to forgive them or just like accept people even when you do judge them, you just want to accept them. I go, why? So because you don't want to be judged.
Exactly. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. We all want mercy, right?
I was thinking of, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, we all want mercy until it's time to show mercy to other people, right? Yeah. And then we realize how costly it is and can be, right? Yeah. And like, it's like, real forgiveness is it's tough. Like, when we talk about, I'm not talking about like, oh, you cut me off at a red light. I'm talking like, oh, you killed my son, right? Like I had a professor in seminary who
That's
like,
some crazy shit.
I had a professor in seminary who like his son was shot and like just going to the grocery store, right? And like he went a couple years later into that prison and talked to that man, right? And like he's the one who would always say, he's like, forgiveness is impossible. Like it's not hard. He is like, I could not forgive the murderer of my child on my own. Like anyone can say that. They can say, yes, I forgive you. But to not harbor that bitterness and that sense of revenge and justice for that person and to give that up, right? That requires a lot of grace.
Yeah, so, fuck that guy.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Well, you know, Jake, for me, something that I've been working on for 30 years that I feel has made things kind of weird for me, but I'm happy I took the journey, is I try not even to get to the need to forgive. Right. So like, someone keyed my car and that's the destiny of my car. That's the destiny of that car. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not even like, I'm just like, you know, I'm not perfect at it by any means, but I'm damn good. Like, hey, all these things are happening for a reason. I don't need to forgive. Like, and to be honest with you, 90% of like, you know, like 90% of the time, it doesn't take but 2 minutes to realize why that happened, because something better happens over there. The second I accept it, it's like, oh, the reason why my car got keyed is because I met this cool dude who's going to fix it for me for free and teach my kid jiu-jitsu. Like, and I wouldn't have bumped into him if I didn't get my car. And it's just like, but it's like, all you got to do is be open to it. But then I never have to forgive. And even, and it's like that. Even if I saw the kid who keyed it, I'd be like, thank you.
Yeah. And I just think that's a lot easier. You're talking about like apathy though. Like, I think you're kind of describing like, I can just be apathetic about it because I don't really care. Right. Like, it's just
you care.
You care, but it's
you
not,
see, but you see the bigger picture. Like, you know that the world is 10 moves ahead.
Yeah, I'm just saying that
you have faith in the bigger picture. I definitely would not call it a lack of apathy.
Okay, but I would just say
you triggered me.
I'm sorry. I apologize. It's easier to do that.
No, it's fuck you, pussy. Not. I'm sorry.
I'll work on it. All right.
Go ahead. Sorry. What's the other word? I give you. What's the other word? It's what?
Oh,
it's experience, dude. It's experience, right? It's like, that's why the third time you left seminary, like by then you're like, now you're like, the first two stories had a little bit of a shadow of them, and the third one you're like, and I'm done.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Like, you have the experience, like, you know.
Yeah. And you
first time you probably judge yourself, I'm a failure, fuck. Second time you were like, shit, this thing happened. Third time you're like, I see this. I see what's going on.
Right.
It's gonna be great.
Yeah. And so you just experience it enough to know, like, it's really not that worth getting worked up about, right?
There's no win.
Right, exactly. And you can do that though with certain things, and then there are other things in your life that you can't do that with.
Right. So a child dying, like, dear God, please don't test me.
Exactly.
I'm good. I don't need a big test.
Yeah. And I think that like the test of forgiveness is by those things, not these little things. Right?
But my life is better because of that. It's not because I'm it's like for selfish reasons. I'm not doing it to be holier or to be more enlightened. Like, my life is so much better.
Yeah.
When my kids fight, like one of my kids will just walk by my other kid and slap him, right? And then my other kid will want to hit him. And I'll be like, listen, remember, like, you don't do things because other people do things. If you think you need to hit them to get your respect because you think it'll have a better outcome so they don't slap you again, do it. If you want to hit them just because you want to hit them and it's just like something fun, do it. I'm not like telling you like how to make your decisions. But if you're doing it just to react because he walked by and goes, you're a pussy. Yeah. And then you chase him, then he owns your shit.
That's right.
He owns your shit. 100%. Yeah. And so it's an interesting thing. I think I'm going to read this to you, this state. How are you on time? You good?
I'm great. Yeah, dude.
Okay. Neither be called instructors, for you have one instructor, the Christ. The greatest among you shall be your servant. Whoever exalts himself will be humbled, and whoever humbles himself will be exalted.
Yep.
I really like that. Can you tell me what that means to you? Do you know that one? I think maybe I got it from your Instagram.
Oh, maybe so. I update my Instagram once every 6 months. So there's
notice. Thank you.
when that was from. But yeah, I mean, so pride in Scripture is consistently pointed out, right, as the biggest issue with man. I mean, it's just that we are the center of the world for everything, right? Like we are the most important people in the world, and we are what the world needs to revolve around is us. And then, yeah, that's pride. And so whoever humbles himself will be exalted. Whoever exalts himself will be humbled. It's just basically, it's not, where did you get that scripture from? Do you know where that, like what passage that was from?
I think how I ended up at it, now that I think about it, is I was looking up, you had said this was one of your favorite look, is it this one? There was a post, it was green. Oh, my link doesn't work to it. Look for those who give and follow them. That's in my notes. I can't, for some reason, I can't pull up your Instagram account anymore. Hold on. Oh yeah. Did I freeze? Am I frozen?
No, you're back.
I did a little bit, I think, but
for some reason, I can't pull up anything on IG anymore. I don't know what's going.
I'm scrolling through right now.
Do you see a green post of his?
Yeah, Matthew 23:11.
Yeah, I think I looked up Matthew 23:11 and I couldn't find it, and I ended up at that one. So I was just like, all right, this one's good. I like this one too. But I like that other one too. I like that. I wanted to talk to you about both.
Oh no. He's gone.
No.
All right, Caleb.
So it's gone.
You got to carry it.
This is great. So when with your seminary school, how long is it supposed to take? Is it supposed to be like a year long, couple years? Because you said it's like a master's, right? Master's of Divinity.
Mine was going to be full time, was going to be 3 years. Yeah. And so I made it a year and a half, and then I went back for another year, and then I ended up only having like 3 classes left to finish to get my MDiv. And I just haven't gone back to do it. But it was, so it was a while.
Well, what is your degree in initially? So you have like a bachelor's, right?
I do. I have a undergrad degree in Christian leadership, basically, which is, I mean, worth absolutely nothing other than the paper that it's put on. So yeah, I just I got that as an undergrad. The fact that I graduated from college was amazing to begin with. Oh, what's up, dude?
I'm down. I have no internet.
What happened? Your internet just went down?
Yeah, my internet. Isn't that weird? I knew something was weird. I was like, my computer's acting weird.
Yeah.
So how did you get your CSCS? Don't you have to have some sort of like, do you have to have any college degree, or like, what is that? How does that look?
You have to have a bachelor's degree to get your CSCS.
Oh, just any degree.
It can be any bachelor's degree. Right.
Okay.
Yeah. It was just, so yeah, that's a good question. That's good question actually. So
nice.
The CSCS
They're like, well, just let anybody in here. Fuck it. It's just like the L1. You just pay the money and take the test.
Yeah, CSCS was also not worth the paper that you printed on. So.
I remember when I went to school for sports medicine. We were doing like practice tests for like the CSCS or whatever the athletic training degree is or the cert is, but they would have the most ridiculous standards for their test, and it was like for a box step up, they're like, oh, find the flaw in the box step up.
Yeah, and
the flaw was actually just that their foot wasn't fully planted on the box. It was like the heel was off by a couple inches, and that was the flaw.
Safety purposes. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And so I saw that and I said, I think this is bullshit. So I just never took the test. And then so then I just went to the level 1 and I took that, and I've taken that twice now, and I found more value in that than I ever did anything in the CSCS.
100%. The PT clinic, I worked out of a chiro clinic, which he was like a physio, and I did like bridging from like sport. So let's say someone gets injured, they have to have surgery on their shoulder, but then they also need to be able to get back into like throwing or pitching or whatever, right? You need something to kind of bridge the gap before they're just like cleared to go back into full duty, right? Be able to everything. And so when I did that, they wanted me to get my CSCS. And so I was just kind of like, fine, I'll take it. But it did not help me as a coach at all. Yeah.
Really? Okay. So how many athletes do you coach right now?
I have,
other than your affiliate, obviously you've got 100 of those. Kids just running around. Yeah.
I have I think 12 through Mayhem right now that are like, and then I also have the 3 competitive, like really, they're all competitive, but Daisy McDonald in Australia, I coach her.
Wow.
I coach Austin, and then Sydney Smith, who I said is she was on the team at the games last year and then I think they'll have a tough time, or it'll be a close weekend this weekend. I think they're going to qualify for the games this weekend as well. She's
what competition is that?
The semis, the team semis.
Okay.
Online that they're doing for a team. But those are the 3 probably like, I don't know what you want to call it, higher profile athletes that I coach. Yeah.
How does that
Hey,
work in Australia? Go ahead. Sorry.
Is Daisy going to make it to the games?
Yes.
Oh, awesome.
She's especially, I mean, I do think that it's going to depend on what Tia's doing. Like, is Tia going to do Torian and like qualify and actually take a spot? Or is that something where she's like, hey, I'm just here to compete. And, you know, if I win, I'm not going to the games. I want my spot to go to someone else. Because this new structure, I just don't know if people understand how tough top 2 is at an in-person competition. Like, it is ruthless, and you better be on. It's not just about fitness. It is about like, if you have one bad event, right, your whole weekend can be shot, right?
Done.
So if your first event that you have, you don't perform up to expectations, you better be tough here, right? Because you got to turn it around real quick if you even want a shot. And even then, there may not be one. And like, it's just so many factors. So
is it going to be like a 5-event weekend or 6 events?
Only 30 this year, man. It's tough road to the games.
It's so tough. I think that Torian will be a 3-day, from what I understand, I believe.
Okay.
At least 6 events, right? Will be what it will.
Yeah.
And that's good for Daisy. Man, Daisy is so awesome. She is just like the most chill. She is so chill. And with Australia, there's definitely some challenges there, obviously, with that. So like, if me and her talk, it's typically around like after 6 o'clock my time, like at night. And, you know, that's like 7 a.m. in the morning for her. So like, we just try to make sure that we communicate around those time windows. And as long as we do that, that's okay. There are definitely some nights I go to bed with unread text messages from her that don't get until the next day. But
so do you just like program for like a week for her or something, and then she just makes really detailed notes then? Because I feel like that'd be super difficult. Yeah. Like I'm 2 hours away from Sevon, and I feel like it's on a different planet just as it is.
Yeah. And like, it's hard for me to give like, it's not hard. I mean, I do it. I give her feedback on everything, but it's hard for me to make individual adjustments to her training sessions, like day of, right? Because she's not getting into the gym until after I'm asleep. So like, changes are going to be made. It needs to be made, you know, a little bit earlier. But man, she's got so much potential. Like, I'm super stoked to see and she's young. I mean, she's like 21. Yeah, she's got like all the potential in the world.
Was she at the teen games like before?
I don't think so. I think that last year was just her first year to qualify as an individual. And, you know, she's a former gymnast too. So like, she's got going for her. But in addition to that, she's just got such a good head on her shoulders. I mean, she's just like, she works as a PT. So like, I think that provides a lot of balance and perspective for a lot of these athletes sometimes that they don't have. And yeah, dude, I'm really excited for her.
Jake, thank you. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Caleb. Go ahead.
So what would you say the difference is between coaching somebody like Austin, who's like, I don't know, one, he's a dude, but he's also just very soft-spoken and chill, and then a younger athlete like Daisy?
I mean, for Austin, it's about me having to kind of like, I have to poke and prod a little bit to get a lot out of him. Right? Like with Austin, just with it, sometimes I have to be like, hey, how did that workout go today? Right. And he'll be like, tough. And I'm like, okay, what was tough? And he's like, legs or lungs. I'm like, okay, well, what round? When did it start to happen? Right. Like, I kind of have to, be a little more assertive with him to get the information that I need from him. And then with Daisy, on the other hand, it's normally just like, I can just be like, hey, how'd the session go? And she's going to give me like everything that I need to know. And it's going to be like, this is awesome. Austin. Like, thank
Perfect.
you so much. Yeah. So it's definitely different communication styles for different people. But with that being said, like I said, Austin is nice because I can tell him to run through a brick wall and he literally just asks me how hard, and he will go. And it's like, that's Daisy would too, but Austin just wouldn't even think twice about it. He'd just be like, all right, let's go.
Daisy would be like, "Are you sure about that?"
Yeah. Daisy would be like, okay, yeah, I think I can do that. And I'd be like, all right, cool, let's go. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
All right, dude.
Salon, thanks, man,
Thanks for taking
for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Oh, he's all muffled now.
Yeah.
I can't wait to have you on again. Congratulations with Austin, Daisy, two of my favorites. Love watching them. Congrats on just being a good role model and just a good dude. You're a great guy.
We can barely hear you, Savon.
Yeah, that's okay. Thanks, brother. I really appreciate it. Okay. I hope you have a good day. Forward to it.
About
Jake.
you.
Okay.
I said some nice things about you.
Okay. I'll go back and try to decide it later. All right. Bye, guys.
See you, Jake.
Good job. I was jealous of your question right away. How many athletes do you coach? I was like, shit, why didn't I think of that?
Well, you were on a tangent about religion, and that was, I don't know anything about religion, so I diverted back to CrossFit.
Son of a bitch.
What the hell?
I just got I just have like that
The spinning wheel of death.
Not the gate.
wheel, but just like the blue one that happens in. I'm about to whoop someone's ass. I'm about to whoop someone.
Oh, really?
Hi.
He says, really?
He saw somewhere like you can just ask why to every question. So anytime I say something to him, he just goes, why? Why?
That is my worst fucking nightmare. My wife does that to me sometimes, and she'll just say why, and I'll just start coming up with more and more ridiculous answers to why, and then eventually I think I've overpowered the amount of whys, but it goes on for probably 5-10 minutes at a time. That is,
Yeah, I'm stupid. I let it go on way too long.
yeah.
Something doesn't make sense. Something doesn't make sense. I'm getting text messages into my phone.
My internet's down.
Maybe I'll restart my computer.
Yeah,
It's
maybe.
weird that I can't remember. That's happened twice now in like a month or two.
Are you connected with like an Ethernet cord, or is it just Wi-Fi?
It's actually both.
Oh, that's weird.
Avi!
Oh, the holy ball.
He stole a bag of holy balls.
Why?
Not why. Avi, come here. You took a bag of holy balls? Come back here, please. I was wondering why you left. That was pretty slick. You walked back here and took a bag of holy balls and left. Here, don't take these.
Little thief.
The sugar ones?
Yeah.
No, I don't like the sugar ones. I like the sugar ones. That's the new bag.
Here.
I also love those too. Thank you.
You knew what you were doing. Give that to me. You knew what you were doing, right? You just stepped back. Yeah. Okay, beat it. Beat it, please. Go.
Bye, Andrew Hiller.
It's not Andrew Hiller.
Later, dude. Fucking nerd. Did you see Barbell Spin came out with an article about Cale Lehman? He doesn't even know what's going on right now. Can you hear me? No. I think your microphone's covered up or something. Whatever you have your phone resting on is covering up your microphone.
Oh, all right. Better?
Yeah, that's better.
What a stupid iPhone holder. It covers the microphone.
Yeah, that's pretty gay.
Oh, okay. I'm back up. Hold on. Naumcheff. How do I? kick off the old version of me? You kick that guy off?
No, I can't remove him. You have to. I can't remove him. You have to either close out of the browser or something.
Oh, I just closed. I just shut down StreamYard. Can you hear me? Is my mic working?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sucked. We were just getting into some good Bible shit.
Yeah. I have to have him back on, I guess.
Oh, what did this? Kale Lehman Nuke's Instagram account as CrossFit begins inquiry into his open scores. Oh man, we have a run. We have a runner.
Yeah, we do.
Kale,
This fucking guy, dude. You fucking idiot. I was just thinking about it too. This guy went to West Point, right? So obviously he's an army fucking dipshit.
Yeah.
And CrossFit has like a pretty substantial relationship with the army, right? Because they started this training program with them where and then you have the Army Ignite program where they pay for people to go get their level 1. Yeah. And then they have this other business or whatever it's called. I don't know what exactly how it works, but that's going around to all of these different units in the army.
Yep.
And training them and teaching soldiers how to move their body properly and how to train so that they can be better at their jobs.
Correct.
And this stupid fat fuck from a graduate from West Point, a very prestigious university, who also happens to have a very notorious record of cheaters.
Really, it does? That's part of their reputation?
Yes. There, like a couple years ago, like a whole class of soldiers were caught cheating on some final test. So this guy had the opportunity to go to West Point, which is extremely exclusive and an extremely difficult program to get through. And he comes out here and acts like an absolute fucking fool. He is making a fool of himself
and damaging
the United States Army.
Yeah, and damaging the reputation.
Exactly.
Guaranteed salary of $70K a year upon graduation. What is that like if you go in the military?
Yeah, that's just your base salary, and then you get housing allowance.
What's the other one called? What's the Naval Academy one's called?
That's just the Naval Academy.
Oh, doesn't have a East
Annapolis.
Point? Oh. I banged a guy from West Point once. He was super hot.
That fucking pisses me off.
He had to get like a letter from like a congressman.
Yeah, something. he got a nomination from a congressman to go to this school. And now he's just going to be known as this degenerate.
Oh man. Poor Kale. Oh, my wife told me the other day. I told a story the other day. I don't know if you were on the show, but I was wearing a stethoscope when I was in Hawaii.
Okay.
And then she said, "Do you remember why you got the stethoscope and you wore it around the whole time?" I go, "No." She goes, "I was pregnant and you would always listen to the baby in there." Like, oh shit, I forgot that part.
That's funny.
All right. Since we had I was gonna call him Jack Niehoff, Jake Naumcheff on. Oh. Hi. Okay, should we go together as a family?
It's totally up to you. If you have stuff you want to do, just stay here.
I'm just gonna probably like work. I'm not gonna. We should go together. We don't ever do anything together.
Okay.
Do we have to pick them up or?
We do. We need to pick Dre up. Not
okay.
the other not her sister, but just
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll be out. Give me like 5 minutes. I want to share something pretty crazy. Okay, bye.
good too.
Okay,
Okay,
bye.
bye.
God, I have some great clips I want to share. Damn. Okay, I'm gonna share this one. I'm gonna share this one. I'm gonna share. No, not that one. I'm gonna share. Okay, God, this one's so good. Sevon, you and I are writing your bench program. Okay, we can, but my shoulder's really bad right now. Like I have something's going on with me. I don't know what it is. No, I'm not going to be on for 30 minutes. I just want you to hear this. Cam Newton called out Charleston White for the way he delivers his message online, saying it comes across as cruel, but Charleston had a response that left Cam speechless. Okay, listen to this. I would love to be friends with Cam Newton.
Like I think everything that you're saying has some truth to it. It's just the delivery. You standing, there's no denying that you're standing for and by your people.
Well, here's the thing. When you're addressing evil, you can't worry about the delivery. When you're looking at the conditions of our community, you can't worry about the evil when you got kids that kill kids and say we smoking on Tuka. See, they wasn't worried about the delivery when these kids in Chicago were talking about smoking on Tuka. They weren't worried about the delivery. I ain't got no manners for no slut. I'm gonna put my thumb in her butt. The delivery? I like girls kissing girls where I'm from. That's on the radio. Girls on girls. That's promoting lesbianism to my daughter as we driving to school. This song they playing with Drake. Y'all worried about the delivery? These niggas talking about killing each other. They really, that nigga Thug said, nigga, I shot at your mama. You don't mention me no more. He really shot that nigga mama. And y'all worried about my delivery? These niggas are confessing to murders on songs. And y'all worried about my delivery? The conditions of black sucking them talking about booty holes. Y'all worried about my delivery? Come on, don't be hypocrites, black people. Y'all can't listen to this music if y'all so caught up in my delivery. Don't do me like that. And the way y'all snap and pop y'all pussy to this music, the way y'all kill and drill to this music, don't trip about my delivery. Hey, yo, Easy, why you wear your pants like that? I wear my pants like that because that's easy access, baby. Easy, why you talk like that? I talk like that to get my point across. Because when I wasn't talking like that, wearing a bow tie, y'all wasn't paying me no attention, and I was going to the Supreme Court changing laws and legislations in this country. I was working with over 50 U.S. congressional members, from Ted Cruz to Mark Rubio, Senator John Cornyn. I was on the front page of the American Bar Association Journal. I had done a study with News 21, Walter Cronkite School of Journalism. Y'all wasn't paying attention then. So, nigga, I gave y'all what y'all want. An ignorant motherfucking nigga that talk like them rappers. Now y'all listening. Now y'all paying attention, huh? I got y'all attention. Checkmate. Now let me tell y'all what y'all need to hear. We fucked up as a race of people since y'all so caught up into my delivery. 5% of children now are catching HIV from ages 13 to 21. What y'all worried about? 85% of the new chlamydia, all the new cases of teenagers. What y'all so caught up about? Nigga, only 35% of most kids in inner cities can read on or above their grade level. What the fuck are y'all talking about? These kids can't read. Come on, my nigga. So if we gonna be real, let's be real.
Trust me. Like
Holy shit, he traversed some turf, dude.
That went so far.
Dude, he covered
Jesus.
so much fucking ground.
Fuck.
He covered so much ground.
He covered the whole thing.
And I say to you, not you, Caleb, I commune with God, but you fucking honkies worry about my delivery.